An Alexander County woman is facing charges accused of stabbing someone in a domestic violence incident. This happened Sunday in the Stony Point area. 20-year-old Marissa Doby was arrested and charged with felony assault with a deadly weapon, inflicting serious injury. No word on who the victim is and the extent of their injuries. Doby is being held in the Alexander County Jail on a $75,000 secured bond.
A Hickory daycare worker is facing charges after investigators say a 4-year-old child was hurt in her care. 25-year-old Gabrielle Sierra Ann Dowdy is accused of throwing or kicking that child into a wall. Investigators say the child suffered bruising. The incident was not reportedly disclosed for several days. Dowdy is now charged with misdemeanor child abuse and assault on a child under 12. The Catawba County Sheriff's Office is investigating. Student athletes from a school in Huntersville are getting ready to travel across the Atlantic Ocean for the second game of their season. Their play in Ireland kicks off a weekend of football in the Aer Lingus College Football Classic. Their Friday matchup comes ahead of UNC facing at Texas Christian University on Saturday in Dublin. Queen City News reporter Shakira speaks and tells us more about this once-in-a-lifetime chance.
It's a big trip and a big stage, and after a year of planning, the green light is finally on. Now, these guys are looking to put their game on the map and make a little history while they're at it.
Okay, give me one more.
Just a few loose ends to tighten up before boarding a flight to Dublin, Ireland.
Triple team that nose if you have to.
For the Ambassador Christian Lions' first overseas trip representing their school.
Part of the Aer Lingus College Football Classic. It's the first college game of the season every year for the last 12 years. Just so happens this year it's the University of North Carolina against TCU.
And it's not just the football team taking flight, the cheerleaders are tagging along.
1, 2, 3, up!
And the women's volleyball players will set up their nets to compete in a small tournament with other U.S. teams.
Tristan's creeping, he's coming inside.
The football team will face a Texas Christian Academy squad on Friday. Head coach Jay Pogue says 100 people are heading to Ireland.
I would say 75% of our kids have never been on an airplane. And so we're about to get on one tomorrow night, fly over the ocean, 7.5 hours to Dublin. It's more than a football game. It's a cultural experience. We're going to see things and do things that these kids and myself even, I haven't been overseas like this, that maybe a once-in-a-lifetime type experience for them.
Many players like Tyson Williams never had a passport before this game was on the schedule.
Go, go, let's go.
This experience is giving them that opportunity early.
10 years down the line, when we taking pictures, you remember, hey, I went to Ireland with my team. I might never get to do that again. So I would say we can show that to our kids, our grandkids. We're like, hey, we kicked off the high school college football season in Ireland.
Luke, have some fun with this thing.
Although it may be a scenic trip, Troy Aldifer says the mindset is still the same.
There's a different mindset for sure going over there, but when it gets to game time, I mean, I don't think it'll be different at all. You know, it's just another game. You know, we've been there before.
Here we go.
Just to keep the intensity up, you know, just to keep playing as a team and keep playing together for sure.
Reporting in Huntersville, Shakira Speaks, Queen City News.
What a cool experience. Well, more trade tensions between Canada and the U.S. Canada will announce some new tariffs today in retaliation for a 50% tariff that President Trump imposed over the weekend. The tariffs apply to $20 billion worth of Canadian imports, but the president is now threatening to impose that tariff on even more imports, including auto parts and steel, if Canada follows through with its retaliation. Meanwhile, the Trump administration also announced some new sanctions on Iran. The measures target nearly 60 businesses linked to Iran's nuclear and missile programs, oil shipments, and cyber activity. The administration is also warning any country that does business with Tehran could face retaliation from the U.S. if they don't cut ties. Iran says it'll respond harshly to U.S. sanctions and any country it believes is cooperating with the U.S.
Back here at home, the Trump administration is reportedly planning to revoke the visas of up to 200,000 people. This would be the largest single visa revocation in American history and would likely face court challenges. Sources say the State Department will revoke B-1 and B-2 visas issued over the last decade whose holders previously or currently are seeking asylum here in our country. Those are business and tourism visas. The State Department is accusing foreigners of lying to get short-term visas so that they can get to America and claim asylum. It is 6:19. If you had a chance to step outside and see SpaceX and the Falcon rocket, not only was it cool to see, Brandon, but you noticed how cool it was outside.
Oh, yeah, it felt so comfortable out there, Jason. Just moments ago, we saw that rocket launch. I'll show you what it looks like here in just a second. I want to show you why we were able to get such an incredible view this morning. We had high pressure in control. High pressure is clearing everything out, so we have a lot of dry air over the Carolinas right now, leading to just beautiful clear skies this morning. And it gave us a good view of the SpaceX Falcon 9. This is a video I shot from our West Charlotte studios here at Queen City News. You can see that jellyfish cloud effect, and this is essentially a contrail that formed from the rocket itself. You got those superheated gases mixing with the atmosphere, and you got to think about it, this is a pre-sunrise launch too, so you have the sun shining bright down on the rocket, but it's still dark here at the ground level. It darkened up the image for you just a little bit so you can see that. That is a beautiful view this morning. Now we've got clear skies because of drier air, and that is because of lower humidity. Now, unfortunately, the humidity is going to be increasing as we get into Wednesday and Thursday. So, unfortunately, it will start to get a little bit more uncomfortable, and we'll also have to start bringing back storm chances. Here's looking at Futurecast. We're dry today. Plenty of sunshine, abundant sun for your afternoon. Dry conditions, low humidity. And then tomorrow we'll start getting the humidity increasing, more clouds, and yes, more storms as well. We'll get scattered showers and storms developing as always the late afternoon to early evening tomorrow and continuing into the early overnight hours tomorrow night. And then here comes your cold front moving in for Thursday. Ahead of the front, you're tracking scattered showers and storms across the Carolinas. And then Friday, the front will essentially arrive and kind of slowly move through. So I expect Friday to likely be the wetter day, especially southeast of the mountains into the foothills and Piedmont. Temperatures this morning starting in the 60s, 50s in the mountains, might even be hoodie weather for the App State students as they head to school. 70s in the mountains this afternoon with mid to upper 80s. Lows tonight in the 60s with highs or low temperatures in the mountains in the 50s. So again, it's going to be a very comfortable forecast out there, but we do turn more humid and even a little bit more stormy by Thursday and Friday, but temperatures stay seasonable, Annie, in the mid to upper 80s.
All right, we like that, Brandon. Thank you. Here's a live look over New York City this morning. We'll see how Wall Street futures are shaping up. Business correspondent Jane King will join us with those answers in about 3 minutes. Welcome back. Millennials look at money differently than previous generations. I'm excited to hear about that. And buying groceries at dollar stores may save shoppers money, but that could come with a hidden cost to their health. Jane King is live at the New York Stock Exchange with those stories and more. Jane, good morning.
Happy Tuesday to you, Annie. So futures this morning, stock futures pretty strong, actually, and getting stronger, especially tech stocks. And oil down about $2.50 a barrel this morning. Now, yesterday, chip stocks were weak. That dragged the S&P and the NASDAQ lower. Of course, we had the big announcement from the Treasury Secretary on the sweeping sanctions on Iran that would punish countries that do business with the nation. So really trying to isolate Iran here and until they come to some kind of agreement. Well, the U.S. Riverside Survey, UC Riverside Survey, found that greater access to dollar stores was linked to higher rates of obesity, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes. Meanwhile, access to traditional grocery stores was associated with better health outcomes, and these findings held across the U.S. even after researchers accounted for things like income and unemployment levels. Now, the study examined stores like Dollar Store, Dollar Tree, 99-cent Store, and Family Dollar, which altogether have about 34,000 locations across the country. And 3 in 5 millennials admit their financial image of themselves doesn't reflect their financial reality. But that doesn't mean that millennials bought into the grind culture of previous generations. Instead, a majority have made financial trade-offs in favor of flexibility. This was conducted by Talker Research on behalf of the financial technology company Chime. And the survey found spending money on experiences rather than savings and assets was found to be the top financial trade-off for this age group. Annie?
Jane, I think that makes sense, especially after COVID. You know, if you have millennials, maybe who have a little bit more money, they opted for travel and saying, life is short, right? So let's go do all of the things that we can. I'll save some money for retirement later.
Yeah, I think so. And you certainly see that when you hear like the airlines and the hotel chains reporting they're like people still love to travel.
Yep.
So, and it is like, some of the best memories I have of life are traveling around and seeing things. So, but I do try to put some money away for savings.
Yes,
too.
You should always try to do that. I can just see the mindset
right.
of being like, you only live once. So just go for
Right.
it. All right, Jane, thank you so much. We'll see you in our 8 o'clock hour. Heading to a break, here is a live look over Independence Boulevard. That is the most cars that we've seen for the past couple of months. Those back-to-school backups already underway. We'll have another check of your traffic coming up in our next half hour. You're watching Queen City News. We'll be right back.
It's the first day of school for Charlotte-Mecklenburg students. Now, we had a chance to talk with Superintendent Dr. Crystal Hill. The questions she answered and those she didn't, coming up next.
And we're also talking about your back-to-school forecast. Temperatures are out of the 90s today and in the 80s. Perfect for the first day of school for Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools, starting in the 60s and surging into the mid to upper 80s. We'll talk about how wonderful the pattern is now and just where the humidity will start to make a return.
It's bad for the American farmers. I think that it undermines what the American cattleman's trying to do.
Local cattle farmers calling out President Trump's efforts to lower beef prices. Why they say the president is trying to buy votes, not looking out for the American people. 6:30, happy Tuesday, happy back to school for CMS students. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Annie Satowski.
I'm Julian Zador.
I'm Jason Harper. Nice to have you with us, meteorologist. Brandon Lawson is here. He's been outside watching the SpaceX rocket launch about an hour ago and just enjoy. I mean, we're all enjoying, if you've been able to go outside, how cool it feels.
Yeah, it's just been so nice out there. Low humidity, clear skies, and cooler temperatures. I mean, it feels very cool. And I'm telling you, our friends up in Boone and Jefferson, the highest elevations, might be in jackets this morning.
Ooh,
they might be in the closets looking for maybe the hoodie, the App State hoodie maybe up towards King Street this morning in Watauga County. This is a look at your temperatures right now this morning. Again, we're in the 50s in the mountains, 53 in Boone, 53 in Jefferson. And again, this is a dry 53 degrees, so it likely feels a little chilly up there in the high country this morning. We got 61 in Hickory right now, 64 in Charlotte, which again, if we cool down even more than 64, it'll be one of our coolest starts we've had since July. So yeah, it is a very cool start out there. Less humidity continues to filter into the region. Now again, dew points yesterday were in the 60s, so dew points this morning are in the 50s. It's actually feeling a little bit more comfortable this morning compared to yesterday morning. Again, today is all about the Charlotte-Mecklenburg kids who are headed back to school. We've got temperatures in the 60s for your bus stop forecast, looking very pleasant out there. And then if you're going to be heading out for the South Carolina special primary runoff, if you're going to vote there in South Carolina, we've got temperatures in the 80s. It's really a picture-perfect day. Sometimes I'll tell folks, try to get out earlier in the day so you don't have to wait in line later because it can be hot and steamy, but not today. Again, temperatures going to be surging into the mid to upper 80s with low humidity continuing to be the story. So 91 down in Lancaster, 89 in Chester, 90 in Sherrill, 88 Rock Hill for our South Carolina areas, 87 Charlotte. We're in the 70s in the mountains today. Now, unfortunately, the humidity makes a return soon, as well as storm chances, and we'll time it out for you coming up in just a bit. Jason?
Brandon, thank you so much. Rush hour officially kicks off in 30 minutes. We're enjoying not only the sunrise, but a little bit of reprieve in some of the traffic. Gorgeous shot of Uptown. Bank of America Stadium, the John Belk Freeway coming at us. I-77 down below. Traffic moving well in and around Uptown. Really, as we look around the crown, 45 inner and outer loop looking good. 77 also looking good from north to south. Really, the issue we're seeing is out west, which is typical for this time of day. 85 northbound coming out of Gaston County this morning. It is slow, and that's typical, whether we're in school or not. Down below is Cox Road off of 85. Look at that, crawling along at about 5 miles an hour. Woo, it's going to take you a while. It's going to take you almost 30 minutes just to get to Belmont. It eventually gets better. This is the exit at Belmont Abbey, which is 85 at Hickory Grove. The left-hand side is the northbound traffic. Those headlights coming up. It does improve, like I said, the closer you get to Charlotte. 77 at Lakeview, just north of the Queen City this morning. Looking nice so far on the east side of town. Steady stream, 3 lanes of cars working their way into Uptown. Please don't be distracted with so many folks out there today and teen drivers. Put the phone away. We'll give you another update coming up at the top of the hour.
All right, the first day outfits are on, the lunches are packed, and buses are already out on the roadways as Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools kicks off another year.
Queen City News anchor Savannah Rudisell live in Pineville at the bus depot there with district leaders just wrapping up speaking this morning.
Now, Savannah, obviously the elephant in the room, the fact that Dr. Hill was on paid administrative leave for 2 months. What did the superintendent have to say about that?
Before we were even given the opportunity to speak with the superintendent or even hear her prepared remarks, we were told by district officials that they would only be answering questions as they related to the first day of school and operations here at the transportation depot here in Pineville. So what we were hearing from Dr. Crystal Hill, we brought to you live right at the very top of this hour, right around 6 o'clock, is that in general, there is a lot of excitement. There's a lot of moving pieces here on the first day of school, and Dr. Hill is just one of them. As again, they avoided more questions here related to the details of the suspension and the investigation into what the school board has only described as operational oversight and administrative work here. But what they did say is, again, this is a big production here. There's 140,000 students here in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools going back today, and they wanted to, again, focus on the fact that the focus of the day is on those 140,000 students. Now, what I was able to ask Dr. Hill is phrasing the question as it related to the first day and said, you've been away for several weeks now. Are there going to be any gaps that we can see here on the first day that parents, students, or teachers may notice, like from the absence? What she was able to tell me is what we had heard before, and that she relies on the people around her. She says one of her strengths as an administrator is bringing around a team that she can also rely on. So she says there's been absolutely no gaps from the absence. She also says, too, that decisions are made about 6 months in advance. She says they don't begin planning for the first day of school in May. They don't even begin planning for it back in March. They say they start in January planning for today here in August.
All right, Savannah, as those kids head back to school, what else did we hear from the district that maybe parents and students need to know about?
District officials, as far as parents are concerned, are very much pushing some of their new technology updates. They say the Infinite Campus app, that is going to be where you're going to find a lot of student information. And this year, they're also heavily pushing an updated Alpha Portal. Now, the Alpha Portal, that is what is going to be the new bus tracking app. This is replacing what CMS had previously used when they use Here Comes the Bus. Now it is Alpha Portal. They have all of that information there on their website of how parents can access that, get updated bus tracking information, and then any information that needs to come here for that first day, parents can get notified through the Infinite Campus app and through Alpha Portal.
Savannah, we know it is a very busy day starting early for Dr. Hill and other administrators and students. So what else do we know that she has on her itinerary today, and maybe a preview of the board meeting that's coming up later tonight?
Right. Very busy day for several different administrators. We know Dr. Hill is on her way now to several different campuses. As our team was following her around over the past couple of first day of schools, she makes it a point to visit as many campuses as she can within her first year as the head of the district. She was making sure she tried to go to 30 campuses in 30 days. Now, as she has been at the helm for several years now, it's not quite that big of a push, but again, getting more time in with as many many administrators, students, and teachers as she can here throughout the campus, she says is also going to remain very important to her. They also say it's going to be a very long day, as tonight at 6 p.m., the Charlotte-Mecklenburg School Board is going to have their meeting. Now, there's nothing necessarily on the agenda that is specifically listed to talking about Dr. Hill, her suspension, or actions here that we've seen on the first day of school or any major updates. But we know that should those come, that starts at 6 o'clock this evening. So should anything come from that board meeting, we'll be sure to update you. Once again, Dr. Hill promising that now is not the time for answers, but promising members of the media once again more answers into this investigation, how much it cost the district, and the potential ramification from it. She says more information is to come.
All right, Savannah, thank you so much, and we'll check in with you throughout the morning. 6:39 now, the man accused of making threats against several Charlotte area schools is free on bond as students head back to the classroom. According to court records, Drew Owens sent emails earlier this year to various CMS schools claiming he planned to carry out mass shootings. He was arrested back in February and released over the weekend. Owens has been ordered to wear an ankle monitor and stay away from schools. He was originally scheduled to go to trial in December. That was canceled. Queen City News Chief Legal Analyst Collie Rhodes weighed in on why Drew was released.
Looking at ties to the community, you're looking at the likelihood of this person appearing, likelihood of them committing a crime, specifically a new violent crime, when you're addressing this. And so those are the steps that a judge is going to look at when determining how you set conditions for release. Was it the best time for them to set it or release this individual while making threats while school is about to start? Probably not the best timing.
And Khalif will join us later on this morning to take a deeper look into that case. That's ahead in our 9 o'clock hour.
Charlotte-Mecklenburg school officials say that Palisades football coach Jonathan Simmons is suspended with pay. Administrators sent a letter to high school families confirming that decision. Coach Darrell Wilson will be the interim head coach. There's no word from the school on what led to his suspension. South Carolina Republicans head back to the polls today for the U.S. Senate special primary runoff. Voters with a valid photo ID can cast a ballot. Those who voted in June's Democratic primary are not eligible to vote in this runoff. Polls are open today from 7 a.m. in about 20 minutes till 7 p.m. tonight. To find your polling location, grab your smartphone, scan the QR code that you see right there. It will take you to our website, qcnews.com.
President Trump is working to slash the cost of beef by temporarily allowing more foreign imports without triggering higher tariffs. North Carolina cattle farmers are bracing for the effects of that move. Queen City News reporter David Schumann spoke to some who feel like the president is undermining them and hurting their livelihood.
Profit Family Cattle Company in Kings Mountain has customers willing to pay a premium for high-quality beef. Shelley Profit Egan believes most consumers aren't as discerning.
In the actual marketplace and the stores, you know, people are going to see American beef. It's going to be a little bit higher.
Egan and cattle farmers like her aren't happy with President Donald Trump's effort to lower beef prices, which were 9% higher last month than the year before. Trump announced Friday the U.S. will import ground beef without tariffs to be sold at 25% below market for the next 90 days. He's declined to say where the beef will come from.
It's bad. It's bad for the American farmers. I think that it undermines what the American cattleman's trying to do.
This is a negative for the cattle industry. I don't care any way you look at it. This is a bad thing.
Matt Bell, who raises commercial cattle with his family at Bell Farm Supply in Kings Mountain, told us he's livid about what President Trump is doing, and he doubts the move will even bring down prices all that much.
This is pure politics. I think he's trying to buy votes for the midterms, and I think his knowledge of agriculture is very limited. Doing this is not going to help any cattle farmer or rancher in this country.
It feels like just a real lack of awareness.
Shelley says American cattle are raised to meet American tastes. She says imported ground beef from an unknown location will likely not be as high quality and possibly not as safe. In a statement to Queen City News, a White House spokesperson said President Trump has repeatedly affirmed his support for America's ranchers and farmers. While the administration will be easing tariffs on beef imports to address a short-term supply crunch, the administration is simultaneously working closely with ranchers to grow America's cattle herd size, which is currently at a multi-decade low. He declined to answer our questions about where the beef will come from and how consumers can be sure it's safe. David Schumann, Queen City News.
Well, every day we are inching closer and getting closer to more Panthers football. We'll tell you what head coach Dave Canales is saying as the Black and Blue get ready to take on the Texans in just a few short days. You're watching Queen City News, the most honored and local news in Charlotte.
Well, the Carolina Panthers continue to do some fine-tuning ahead of their final preseason game, and the regular season just a few weeks away.
Plus, they're not the only Carolina team getting ready for football.
Carolina Sports Live's Joey Ellis has that and more in your morning sports.
Well, it's another game week for the Carolina Panthers, finishing out the preseason with a preseason finale on Friday. It's an off day, I should say, today for the Panthers before they welcome a very stingy, very tough defense in the Houston Texans to town on Wednesday for part of joint practices before Friday's preseason finale. But the big thing now for this team the rest of the way is figuring out some positions still, especially at that linebacker position. The green dot, it's small, but still the responsibility that comes with it is anything but. Claudin Sherrills and Trevin Wallace, they're entering this final week of the preseason running neck and neck for that second linebacker spot beside Devin Lloyd. It's a competition between two friends and really a chance for Sherrills to show he can do more to find the football and also at the same time put the entire defense in position to find him with it.
Head to head, it's back and forth, and it's neck and neck. Again, I've talked about this before, but these are guys who aren't just teammates, these are friends, and they understand that. They understand what they're up against.
Communication and mindset is the biggest thing just across the league in general. I don't think you can get by in this league by just being a freak of nature, like a freak athlete, off-ball linebacker. Just all the communication, the checks, the front sets, just knowing where you're supposed to be, solving the pieces of the puzzle. You have to be ready to do that inside linebacker in this league.
Right to the college ranks to North Carolina, set to begin their season with week 0 on Saturday in Dublin, Ireland. How about Jordan Shipp? The Charlotte native, former Providence Day standout, now entering his junior year in Chapel Hill after a sizable jump in his sophomore year and really his first year playing under the legendary Bill Belichick. 60 catches, 671 yards, 6 touchdowns a season ago. To no surprise, the most productive returner inside that receiver room for the Tar Heels. Now with Bobby Petrino calling plays as the new offensive coordinator. But for Chip and really for this Carolina team, it's playing outside of the United States that'll be certainly a new experience and really a learning curve as the Tar Heels adjust to a much different environment.
Who wouldn't want to play? It's a free trip out the country to go play football, you know? So, I mean, I'm super excited. It's my first time going out the country. My family's first time going out the country as well. So just being able to experience that at such a great, prestigious school like this and everything like that with a bunch of my brothers and a lot of my closest friends, I'm super excited.
Playing in, particularly here in Ireland, it's kind of the reverse of going to the West Coast. From a timing standpoint, it's similar. This game has some obviously differences to it in terms of being over there a little bit earlier. They're all different. I'm not saying that, but in terms of travel, I mean, it's not like going to Australia or, someplace like that.
So ahead of week 0 for North Carolina and TCU in Dublin on Saturday, we'll get you set for game day as the Tar Heels look to have a much bigger jump into year 2 under Bill Belichick. Johnson C. Smith University, the HBCU here in Charlotte, coming off a historic season in Division II a season ago. They're gearing back up for their season opener August 29th. We're heading out to practice there later today. We'll hear from head coach Maurice Flowers, and we'll dive much more into the Carolina Panthers welcoming the Texans to town for joint practices on Wednesday. We got all that and a lot more tonight at 11 o'clock on Carolina Sports Live.
All right, 6:49 your time now. Thanks, Joey, my man, breaking everything down for us. Hard to believe college football starting this weekend already, week 0. Hopefully my Heels can get off to a good start. I want to get you a look at what will be the Carolina Blue Skies later this morning. But right now we've got a little bit of orange in the sky. It's representing the sunrise this morning. It's beautiful out there. Drier air continuing to fill into the Carolinas. High pressure in control. That sinking air going to continue to clear things out. You look at your tropical outlook over the next 7 days. Here's a look at what we're watching. We've got a disturbance that is coming off the coast of Africa. It's going to move in the central Atlantic. 70% chance of tropical formation. We'll have to watch this storm as it moves towards the central Atlantic. I'm not worried about it, but as we go into the next 10 days or so, it's just something we'll have to watch and watch trends. But most model data steers out to sea away from the U.S. Plus, we've got a tropical disturbance in the northern Atlantic. Medium chance of development there. It will not be a threat to the U.S. Now, rainfall forecast here is going to show our rain chances increasing through the middle of the week. But I want you to just try to take advantage of today while you can. It's going to be beautiful, abundant sunshine, dry conditions, low humidity, cool temperatures, all the words and phrases we like for a good weather day. Now, unfortunately, as we go into tomorrow, notice we start getting a little bit more cloud cover, and here comes storms. 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, we've got scattered showers and storms developing, and that's a sign that the humidity will be increasing too. More moisture giving us the opportunity to produce those shower and storm chances. Now, we also have a cold front that's going to be moving in for Thursday. So notice Thursday, scattered showers and storms ahead of that front Thursday afternoon, evening. And then Friday, as the front crosses, more scattered showers and storms around the Charlotte area and southeast of I-85, depending on where that front orients itself for the day on Friday. So we'll have to watch that. Again, more Friday night football Friday night, possibly some more rain concerns. 50s and low to mid 60s this morning, 50s in the mountains, gorgeous weather. Today's highs mid-80s with 70s in the high country, and your pollen forecast staying in that medium range. It's ragweed and grasses that have us sniffling right now. More humid as we get into your Wednesday. Showers and storms build again for Thursday and Friday, and then we get a bit drier for the weekend. You're watching Queen City News Now. It's the most iron and most local news in Charlotte. We'll be right back.
Well, a celebration Saturday in Philadelphia commemorated what may have been the world's first selfie. The Philadelphia Historic District 250th Committee hosted Selfie Fest. The photo that may have been the first selfie was taken in Philadelphia by Robert Cornelius using a homemade camera in 1839. Jackson Warren, a distant descendant of Cornelius, was at Selfie Fest.
I grew up in the age of the selfie, and now it's just ubiquitous. But it's cool to have a connection to the guy that did it first. And it's funny, I have a lot of photographers in my family too, so I think that might have carried through.
So when you go out and take a selfie, just know that you're celebrating an invention from Philadelphia.
Or if you watch Ted Lasso, they're called Ussies.
Ussies.
There we go.
It's not of myself, it's of us. All right, how about this picture right here? It was annual weigh-in day. Monday at the ZSL London Zoo, the animals' health statistics, they get recorded and monitored. Creatures of all shapes and sizes put on scales, including capybara siblings, Kiwi and Gizmo, who tipped the scales at 99 and 110 pounds. A giant magnolia land snail weighing in just over 3.5 ounces. The Conservation Zoo says that each measurement is added to a database shared with animal caregivers and conservationists all over the world, which helps them compare important information on thousands of endangered species. That is kind of cool. A very unusual call for the Watertown Police Department up in New York after someone let the horses out of the stable last week. 3 horses and 2 zebra escaped from a traveling circus, and the department had to be called in to wrangle up those performers. After making sure that every one of them was back in their place, the circus had just enough time to get their weekend performances in. Man, you gotta love our police and law enforcement that wrangle in snakes and alligators day in and day out. All right, you're watching Queen City News. Go wrangle your kids, get them to school on time. We'll kick off another hour coming up.
Welcome back. The world's oceans reached record-setting temperatures over the weekend, as experts warn waters may only getting warmer. According to data released by the European climate service Copernicus, the average surface temperature of the world's oceans rose to 70 degrees Fahrenheit Friday and Saturday. That number beats out the previous record of 69 degrees set back in March 2024. Copernicus climate leaders say when ocean waters get warmer, they can become more acidic and carry less oxygen, hurting food industries that rely on the sea.
we have a warmer ocean, such as we've had in Europe this summer, it amplifies the impacts of heat waves because you don't get the cooler nighttime temperatures with the sea breeze coming off the ocean when the ocean is very warm. So there's a huge number of reasons why people should be worried.
The world's sea surface temperature typically peaks in March and April, making this weekend's August record a new standout. Leaders say continuing to emit greenhouse gases has the potential to worsen future conditions. Time is 6:59. Stay with us as we head right into our 7 o'clock hour.
Seven o'clock on your Tuesday morning, all about back to school and the forecast today. We'll talk about the back to school forecast as those bus riders get out to school. We'll talk about when the humidity returns, and I'm also giving the forecast in a way that kids could understand. That's all coming up.
Plus, the Shaw area's largest school district headed back to class today. A live look at West Mecklenburg High School, West Meck, home of the Hawks, as students make their way to homeroom. Queen City News has everything you need to know from the changes inside the classroom to the impacts on your morning commute.
And all eyes are on the Palmetto State as voters pick who will replace late Senator Lindsey Graham on November's ballot. How candidates made their final push ahead of today's runoff election.
Queen City News starts now.
It is 7:01. Good Tuesday morning. Back to school for almost everyone in our viewing area this morning. I hope the day is going well. I'm Jason Harper.
I'm Andy Satowski.
I'm Julian Sador.
I'm meteorologist Brandon Lawson. For meteorologist Ted Fate this morning, we're tracking low humidity, clear skies, and dry air for all those kiddos that are headed back today. Perfect. You can't ask for a better forecast.
So nice outside.
Oh yeah, I mean just very comfortable, and I mean I think it feels even more comfortable than what it would have if we didn't have to deal with 2 weeks of humidity. You know, it's been just kind of a brutal last couple weeks with the forecast, very high heat, and also dealing with the humidity as well. Now you look around the crowd this morning, a lot of clear skies and a beautiful sunrise coming up over the region this morning. Even as you're looking towards our exclusive Arlington Caribou in the top right, man, that is a beautiful sunrise. We had that rocket launch, the SpaceX Falcon 9, earlier this morning. I'll show you what that looked like here coming up in just a little bit. But first, we got to get the kids back to school. And now the middle schoolers and especially elementary school kids are now starting to get out. So I wanted to get the forecast the way that some of the kids might be able to understand. But looking at some of the weather instruments this morning, again, that we use to forecast, every time I go to the school systems, especially the elementary school ones, the kids, the younger ones, I always go through the weather instruments. So thermometer has temperatures in the 60s this morning, climbing to the 80s. Our rain gauge showing dry conditions as we go through the day. Then we got our anemometer telling the wind speed and wind direction with winds northeast at 3 to 7 miles per hour. And our barometer giving us high pressure today, which is all going to create a wonderful weather forecast for us today. And the last one, this is the sling psychrometer that we use. This always stumps the kids when they are in school, and I show them this. And essentially, you wet this tool, and as you sling it around, if it dries out, you have drier air. If you sling it around, it stays wet. You have low humidity. You have a lot of moisture. But today, we've got low humidity and perfect conditions for the back to school forecast, starting in the 60s, climbing to the 80s. Can't ask for a better forecast. We'll talk more about when humidity, though, will return. We'll also show you that rocket launch coming up here in just a few minutes, guys.
Brandon, thank you so much. The first bell of the new school year about to ring any moment for thousands of CMS students.
Around 180 campuses in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg School District are welcoming back learners today.
Queen City News anchor Savannah Russell live in South Charlotte with a look at how the first day is going so far. Savannah, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. We just saw you about a half hour ago at one of the transportation depots in Pineville. We're on our way to one of the closest campuses here within the CMS district at South Mac High School. However, traffic's bad this morning, and we couldn't quite get there, so we wanted to give you a look. We just kind of stopped here over on the side of the road. We are over on Park Road here, right by the Smithfield Church Road, by Quail Hollow Middle School, so we're not too far from the high school itself. But again, we just couldn't quite get there in time, even with about 30 minutes to go. go. It's definitely a lot slower. You're seeing some buses that are certainly taking up some of the lanes, but just the influx of some of those riders. We know that for some families, just wanting to drop them off on the first day is a tradition. For other people, this is just how we're getting to school here so far this morning. Also seeing plenty of walkers who are using those crosswalks. So again, if you have to get out at any point this morning from now until probably around 9:30 or so, I would give yourself as much extra time as you possibly can. Once again, we know there are a lot of buses on the road, as the transportation team was letting us know they were getting all 750 in their fleet rolling around here over not just today, but really making sure that they were ready for this morning with 2 weeks of prep. They say they were running some of those dry runs, is what they were calling them here, just before today, so that this isn't the very first time that they would be out and using those new routes. However, still going to be some issues for that very first day. They also say that for the transportation department, they still have about 98 vacancies. They're looking for more drivers to hire, despite what they call very successful hiring events over the summer. In order to reduce some of the impact that you would have on bus riders for those vacancies, they say they have district staff members, front office staff members who are qualified to drive those buses, filling in and making sure that they can get those routes filled before there is any noticeable difference. Now, we also noticed one of the big pushes from CMS officials this year is making sure that screen time in the classroom is done responsibly and done to what's appropriate to school levels. That's why they say they're making a big effort to monitor screen time and technology usage in the classroom, particularly for those younger learners in the K-2 classrooms.
Focus is really on looking at making sure that technology use at all levels, certainly first is developmentally appropriate, but that it is purposeful.
So we are on our way to South Meck High School, as we had just mentioned. We're going to bring you some live updates from the campus just as soon as we get in there. That'll be coming up here for you in our next half hour. Reporting live in South Charlotte, Savannah Rudisell, Queen City News.
All right, Savannah, thank you for those updates. Now, as students head back to the classroom, there are still some big questions about the person back in charge of the district. Tonight, CMS board members will address the investigation into Dr. Crystal Hill. Hill is back in charge after a 2-month leave. Board members said they were looking into Hill's administrative and operational oversight, but outside of that, they haven't released many details on their investigation. At least one board member says she will move to release all information the district can legally share into their investigation. That meeting begins at 6 o'clock tonight.
Well, tonight we'll know who South Carolina Republicans want to see represent them in the U.S. Senate. The field of GOP candidates seeking to replace the late Senator Lindsey Graham down to 2. His sister, Senator Darlene Graham, and Congressman Ralph Norman. Now, with the little polling released over the past 2 weeks, it's hard to get a real feel of where the two campaigns stand, but both are trying to drum up support mostly through high-level endorsements. Chief Political Correspondent Andy Weber reports.
Good luck, Darlene. Good luck. Gonna have a big win.
Candidates are in the final sprint as South Carolina Republican voters head to the polls on Tuesday to nominate a replacement for the late Lindsey Graham. President Trump reaffirmed his support for Lindsey's sister, Darlene Graham, during a rally in Myrtle Beach on Friday and a phone call with media and supporters on Monday.
After her beloved brother, Senator Lindsey Graham, passed away unexpectedly, I asked Darlene, I went up to her, I said, Darlene, run. I know her. She'll be fantastic.
Graham has promised to not be a typical politician.
I'm not going to go up there for power, for money, or any of that. I'm going up there because I have a true servant's heart like Lindsey did, and I want to continue to fight for this state and help this state.
Norman doesn't have the president's backing, but he has promised to support Trump's agenda. He said several endorsements come in over the past few days, including former South Carolina governor and Senate candidate Mark Sanford.
You know where I stand on the major issues. You know how I have voted under the bright lights. I do think that I bring a certain urgency to get things done because of where we are as a country.
Again, that was Andy Weber reporting. Polls open across the state. Actually opened 9 minutes ago. They'll close at 7. Whoever wins will face Democrat Dr. Annie Andrews in November.
Last night, council members also heard more from the public on the controversial plan to expand I-77 in South Charlotte. There have been calls for the city to reconsider its opposition to the plan to add toll lanes. The council and a regional transportation panel withdrew support for the proposal back in May after community opposition for the impact on historically black neighborhoods. Now, that was before North Carolina's new budget called for opposing municipalities to have to pay back $60 million in design expenses and the state's offer of community improvements.
What has changed? The transportation needs have not changed. The concern raised by residents have not changed. And the burdens that toll roads place on working families has not changed. What appears to have changed is the pressure on local government to revisit decisions that already reached through public engagement.
If a change is not made, then this will eventually come off the state list of plans for projects. And if once that happens, it could be a decade or more before we can go forward with this project. However it looks.
The Charlotte Regional Transportation Planning Organization will vote September 23rd on whether to restore support for the project. The city's decision could come before that date. 7:10, let's get another check of our pinpoint forecast with meteorologist Brandon Lawson. And Brandon, we've been talking about what a nice morning it is. And if you looked up in the sky, you saw something pretty cool.
Yeah, we had the SpaceX Falcon 9 launch. As promised, I wanted to show you this morning. I captured it from our West Charlotte Queen City News studios here at about 5:40. So it was about 6 or 7 minutes after the launch that it became visible here in Charlotte. And you can see looking pretty much east-southeast. This is the rocket itself. And again, what ends up happening with this is you got all those super hot gases that are essentially in the exhaust of the rocket, and it mixes with the atmosphere, and you have the sun shining bright on this as well with the pre-sunrise launch, and it leads to this beautiful sight. You kind of get this jellyfish looking cloud effect. I was worried about our tree line here. Darkened it up for you just so you could see it a little better, but I was worried our tree line was going to block my view, but I was able to get a pretty good view from the east-southeast. If you were able to get a view, send it to qcnews.com/report it, and I'll try and show some on air for you this morning. High pressure, well controlled, drier air filling in. Still a few high clouds, but overall it's a dry start and radar looking nice. Temperatures, though, again, going to be starting to really moderate, but it's going to be about the humidity that rises as we get towards the mid to latter half of the week. We'll talk about just how much the humidity rises and the storm chances increasing coming up in just a bit. Jason.
All right, Brandon, thank you very much. It is the first day back of school for 140-something thousand students in Charlotte-Mecklenburg School District. Now, Terry Allen, our photojournalist, is out live. The west part of the city, this is West Mecklenburg High School. First day traffic. Look at that line. Oh, man, carpool is important when it comes to this. Don't forget to this is when everyone hops on their phone, I'm telling you, is sitting in traffic. They think, hey, I'm going to grab the phone, look at Facebook real fast, and you tap the person in front of you. Please just wait till you're out of the school zone. If you look to the right, you can see both directions out here on this road are 10 miles an hour in the west part of Charlotte. It's going to be like this in every school zone across our viewing area from now till the end of eternity. So please just be respectful, and a lot of kids taking scooters and bikes to school this morning. All right, let's take a look around the crown. Overall, things aren't too bad. It's still early. Rush hour officially started 12 minutes ago. Really, the big volume is out west, which is typical, trying to get from Gastonia to Belmont. Almost 40 minutes now. Look down below. 85 near Cox Road, creeping along 5 miles an hour, really causing some slowdowns. So we anticipate that's going to take you a while until you get across the river into Mecklenburg County. It does improve a little bit the further you go. This is near the Belmont Abbey exit on the left-hand side. That's northbound traffic trying to work its way into Charlotte. A new accident in Uptown 77 at 277, causing a little bit of backups. We can see that here on this camera. You can see right there against the inside wall. That's where we've had the accident. They're trying to get that cleared. Everyone's trying to move out of that left lane into one of the center lanes, but it's slowing it down as you're trying to work your way into Uptown. It does get a little bit better the further closer you get to Uptown on the east side of town. Also looking pretty good for now. We'll keep monitoring this. You take care of yourself. We'll give you another update coming up at 7:30. Julian.
All right, thank you, Jason. Police officer by day and opera singer by night, the lawman dazzling people with an unexpected talent. That story coming your way next. Watching Queen City News, the most honored and the most local news in Charlotte. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. A Kansas police officer has a unique interest outside of work. Jessica Guthrie introduces us to the lawman using his talents to introduce people to opera.
When you think about a police officer, what comes to mind? Getting pulled over? Maybe a high-speed chase? What about a piano-playing opera singer? Officer Jeremy Claude with the Overland Park Police Department has been playing piano since he was a little kid. And for the last few months, when he's not fighting crime, he spends his lunch breaks at a local department store, sharing his talents with others.
I was on a proactive patrol unit, and I took it upon myself to make contact with businesses and check in on them, make sure they're okay, any problems that we could help them or solve for them.
That's when he found the grand piano at Von Maur and decided to share his talents. He says he wanted to show that police officers aren't just robots like people may think.
I wanted to show the humanity aspect of law enforcement. Nowadays there's a lot of stigma towards law enforcement, and I want to make sure that people know that we're all human just like everyone else on this planet. We all go home and we have families, and we want to make sure people track that we're right there alongside them. We're here to help them whenever they need it.
He also uses music as an outlet to help decompress after a shift in a pretty high-pressure job.
A lot of the times when you're working this job, you're walking into something that you have no idea what you're walking into, and it is up to you to commit to the best of your ability to ensure the safety of yourself and others. So for me, music helps me decompress.
Officer Claude is also a member of the Overland Park Honor Guard and even sings opera as well. Says in sharing his talents, he hopes to change the stigma surrounding law enforcement.
7:18 your time now. I want to get into your forecast for today. A lot of things going on. We've got the back to school forecast again for the kiddos at Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools. They head back to school. Also, I've got the runoff election happening in South Carolina. And we've got great weather for everything that you would need for outdoors. I mean, dew points are low. We've got lower humidity. Dew points in the mid to upper 50s. Feeling very pleasant out there this morning. Temperatures are down, but all good things must come to an end, and unfortunately the humidity is going to be surging back in the forecast as we go into tomorrow and Thursday. So it is going to get a little bit more muggy out there, especially towards the end of the week. So the drier air we have now, again, that's coming from high pressure building in from the north. So we're getting more of that northerly flow, but as we get into tomorrow and Thursday, our flow is going to be coming from the Gulf, and that's going to bring in more moisture into the Carolinas, and the air you can wear is going to be surging right back into the forecast. So Futurecast keeps us dry today. Enjoy today. It's a pleasant day, plenty of sun. Get your jogs in outdoors. Perfect conditions for that because, again, you're not going to be sweating quite as much. But then as we go into tomorrow morning, you'll probably already notice a little bit of an increase in the humidity, a few more clouds tomorrow too, and then even storm chances. Tomorrow afternoon, late afternoon, evening, we've got storms developing, scattered showers and storms. Not everybody will get a storm tomorrow, but those pop-up storms return to the forecast. More of your summer-like pattern even into Thursday. Surge of moisture ahead of this cold front back to the west. You can see scattered showers and storms over the Carolinas on Thursday, and then as we go into Friday, the front crosses, so I think the storm chances will probably be a little lower for the mountains on Friday, but then for the Charlotte Metro and points southeast of I-85, I do expect scattered showers and storms likely as we go into Friday night, so it could be another rainy Friday night for Friday Night Football coming up this week. 50s in the mountains, upper 50s, low 60s farther south towards Charlotte. I've got today's highs in the mid to upper 80s with 70s up in the mountains. And your pollen report, as more people get outdoors to enjoy this nice weather, what will have you sniffling? It's ragweed pollen and grass pollen. 7-day forecast showing more humid conditions for your Wednesday. Showers and storms returning for Thursday and Friday as well with the humidity, and then we get a bit drier for the weekend. You're watching Queen City News Now. It's the most local news in Charlotte.
Welcome back. Time is 7:23 as we take you up there to New York City. Stock futures all in the green. Investors are waiting on NVIDIA earnings and that inflation report due later this week. Now, taking a look at how they closed yesterday, mixed. NASDAQ down almost a full percentage point there. Dow Jones up slightly. S&P slightly in the red. We're going to talk with Jane King live from the New York Stock Exchange. She'll join us in about an hour at 8:25.
Well, the Panthers are heading into their final preseason game with some motivation from a very special fan. This is 11-year-old fan Gianni Norman. He collapsed at school earlier this year and had symptoms that left him unable to walk on his own. With Atrium Health Levine Children's Hospital, he's rebuilding his confidence and his strength. He got to watch practice, and he even right here got to break down the post-practice huddle, and he met with all-time favorite players Bryce Young and Tataroa McMillan. Look at that.
Love it.
What a fun day for his family.
He's going to remember that forever. I hope he just gets stronger than ever before and he's able to run around and do everything he's ever wanted to do. I'm amazed at the physicians and the nurses and doctors we have in Charlotte. So grateful for them.
Oh, yeah. I love that jersey, too. He has his own jersey.
Yeah,
his name Norman on the back and everything. That's awesome.
And
Maybe, hey, man, that's a feature.
I was going to say, maybe we'll see him.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be an amazing story?
That would be a full circle moment. All right, good stuff. We're heading to a break. You're watching Queen City News, the most local news in Charlotte.
Charlotte-Mecklenburg school students are heading back to class as we speak. We'll bring you the latest and what we learned this morning coming up next.
A popular Charlotte bakery owner going face-to-face with the former commander of U.S. Border Patrol. The accusations from both sides after an unexpected confrontation that took place nearly a full year after the city's massive immigration operation.
And the highly contested special Senate primary race in South Carolina will be decided by the end of the day. What you need to know if you are heading out to the polls. 7:30 almost here on your Tuesday. Welcome into Queen City News Now. I'm Annie Satowski.
I'm Julian Sador.
I'm Jason Harper. We good. We're all good.
We're all good. I was trying to say I had a lot of thoughts in my head. Maybe like a lot of kids heading back to school, just making sure they have everything in order. We're good up here. Hopefully everyone else is too.
Hope we are. I hope the whole morning routine that you thought about for the last couple of days, I hope it's gone well this morning. Thanks for making us a part of that routine. Gorgeous shot in South End. Pretty much our whole viewing area all the way up to the mountains, Brandon. We're Tuesday.
I mean, just a fantastic day seeing those Carolina blue skies over South End. Hey, it's a time for the Tar Heels this weekend too. Football's coming back, and we've had kind of some fallish mornings here, I'd say. Temperatures in the 60s, cooler temperatures this morning. Wonderful conditions for those that are headed back to school today and for those that are continuing to go to school, because again, we have had a lot of school systems already start. But man, a lot of blue sky out there. Beautiful day if you're heading out. So the weather story today, look, it's back to school. We finally have pretty much all districts now back to school today. Exciting stuff. 50s in the mountains. Now, I mentioned some fallish weather. I bet Mount Mitchell, I'm going to have to look at the weather observation. The highest point in North Carolina is probably in like the upper 30s or low 40s this morning. That's how cool it probably is there. We're at 50 in Boone, 53 in Jefferson. I've got 64 in Charlotte, 61 in Concord, 58 in Statesville. So it is a nice, cool, comfortable start with less humidity. You got dew points in the 50s. Again, dew points were in the 70s this point last week. We're in the 50s now with those dew points. Meaning drier air is building in. And what comes with drier air is clear skies at night. So what happens at night? Obviously, during the day, we get solar radiation from the sun. That shines on the ground, heats up the air around it. However, at night, we get what's called infrared radiation. So what happens is the heat is escaping out into the atmosphere as infrared radiation and cooling down. When you have clear skies, this process happens easily. However, when you have a lot of moisture in the atmosphere and you apply clouds to it, this allows the clouds to trap in the heat. So the infrared radiation, it tries to escape the atmosphere, cool down, but the clouds trap that heat like a blanket. And that's why we've had some cooler mornings here, because we don't have any clouds in the atmosphere to slow down the cooling process in the atmosphere this morning. So temperatures starting in the 60s this morning. High temperatures will be right around the mid to upper 80s this afternoon. 87 in Charlotte. 88 Rock Hill, 89 Chester, 85 Morganton, or the 70s in the mountains later this afternoon. And again, radar is dry this morning. It is a dry, comfortable start with clear skies, as you saw from our South End shot for you. Drier air continuing to filter in, high pressure building in from the north, and that is producing these wonderful conditions. However, the humidity is returning soon. We'll let you know just exactly when the humidity will surge back up, plus increasing storm chances towards the end of the week. We'll detail that as well and time it out for you coming up in just a bit. Jason, obviously a busy day of traffic for the first day of school.
Yes, it is. Everyone take a deep breath. Be patient with your neighbor out there. Put the phone away. You don't want to tap the person in front of you because they have to stop. We're looking right now live at West Mecklenburg High School. Terry Allen, our photojournalist, right there across the street, watching everyone. We're watching you. You guys better be on your best behavior. I mean, you got all things going on. You got one lane trying to turn in. You got turn lanes. You got zooming along. You got crosswalks. Just be aware of your surroundings with the school buses and kiddos on bikes and scooters trying to get to where they're going, and teen drivers on top of that. So it is slow, and it's like this all over the Queen City. On the right-hand side, you can see this is Tuckasegee Road out front of West Meck, 25 miles an hour, and it keeps changing, getting a little better. So that's how it is all around the Crown. All right, let's take you and show you our full map around the Crown. We're seeing volume pick up. Rush hour kicked off 32 minutes ago. No major accidents, which is good news. A lot of volume coming in from Gaston County. That's typical, almost 40 minutes to get to Belmont. You can see down below 85 at Cox Road. Man, creeping along at 5 miles an hour. Overall, here's your drive times. You can tell that's the longest stretch coming down 30 minutes from Lake Norman. Same can be said coming up from Rock Hill. So it's slow pretty much in every direction. An earlier accident, 77 at 277, had some things slowed down and a little bit off to the shoulder. You can see the far left side. You can see some hazard lights. Some of the road crews just left, but that's slowing the right lane down just north of Uptown. So be aware of that. On the east side of the city, pretty good. We're tracking Central Ave, Monroe Road, Independence Boulevard, sort of the main arteries coming up from Monroe. We'll give you another snapshot of traffic coming up at 8. One of the final districts in our area to go back to school is also one of the largest, Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools.
Around 140,000 kids are making their way to their new classes this morning.
Hopefully they're close to being there, because Queen City News anchor Savannah Russo live in South Charlotte as the tardy bells start to ring for some campuses. Savannah, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Just in the last half hour since we showed you, traffic on Park Road here near South Meck High School has cleared up quite a bit. That tends to be the case on a school morning. You get a big rush of parents looking for a drop-off, those school buses coming in, then all of a sudden it's nice and clear again. Don't get me wrong, Park Road, always a pretty busy thoroughfare around this type of the morning. However, we are starting to see traffic ease up just a little bit. We were also able to talk with some of the transit officials earlier here this morning as we were meeting with some of them earlier near the bus barn. They were telling us that they are fully prepared to get all of those buses out on those routes ready to go for the day. Now, as we were talking with the administrators working for the transportation department, we also heard briefly from Superintendent Dr. Crystal Hill. We asked her a little bit about the 8-week suspension and investigation into her position with the board. She didn't answer much. She did answer a few questions. Take a listen.
I'll be visiting several schools today and also the rest of the week. Last year had an opportunity to do 30 schools in 30 days. Hope to do the same thing again this year, so very busy. I remain confident in my leadership and the leadership of our entire team. We are really excited. Next week we'll be sharing our end of year results from all of the amazing work that happened last year. And just for a sneak peek, it'll be back to back 2 in a row, so we're really excited about that. In terms of answering any questions as you asked, we will be providing more information at a later time, but today our focus is on the first day of school.
Again, administrators say they want the focus to be on the 140,000 students, the 18,000 teachers or so that are getting back into the classroom today. But of course, questions as to what's going on with the district administration do still linger. So tonight there is a CMS board meeting. This has been previously scheduled since the beginning of the year. And according to their agenda, they don't have anything listed specifically to give an update on the superintendent investigation or the reinstatement of Dr. Crystal Hill. But of course, we will be following that just in case there is. That meeting begins at 6 o'clock this evening. Afterwards, we'll bring you any updates from the meeting should they come. Reporting live in South Charlotte, Savannah Rudisell, Queen City News.
All right, Savannah, we're just blown away by this. The class of 2040 is just beginning its journey.
But as fewer children are born, investing in every young learner has never been more important.
Jen Cardone shows us the skills they say set children up for success before they even start kindergarten.
Today is the first day of our Primrose Harvest.
As the number of children born each year continues to decline, educators say success isn't just about filling classrooms, it's about helping every child reach their full potential. Inside Ms. Katrina Laffey's pre-K classroom.
Waddle, that's right, braid it. Sunlight. Sunlight.
The concepts that used to be there for kindergarten are now pre-K.
Ms. Laffey's been teaching for 15 years and just won Teacher of the Year at Primrose Schools last month.
Oh, and the best part is we also planted carrots.
My heart is full and I can't imagine doing anything else.
So what do future kindergartners really need before that first day of school? Educators say it starts long before they learn their ABCs.
I love the literacy skills. I love helping children learn them. I love how excited they are when they start to read. But boy, those social emotional skills are
key.
Mary Margaret Cantor with MEC Pre-K says children this age need hands-on learning experiences. Experts say nearly 90% of brain development happens before age 5, making these early years some of the most important for learning.
And they have to write with a big pencil on a big board, and they have to paint it on an easel, and all of those kinds of things for those synapses to really fire, for it to be ready and waiting for when then they do sit down and read Shakespeare 9 years from now.
Whatever is put in front of them, there is a purpose to it. It's fun, it's engaging for them, but at the end of the day, they are learning something from it.
Og the Bookworm helps bring learning to life at Primrose. He's one of 12 characters teachers use to reinforce monthly lessons and values.
It teaches from a young age that desire, that love to learn, and once you've established that early on in the child, there's now a lifetime of love for the things that they're going to learn throughout their lives.
Even as classrooms evolve, technology is playing more of a supporting role. At both programs, AI isn't teaching students. It's helping teachers identify learning gaps and create new activities.
The teacher can then take that and say, next time we have small groups, I'm going to call these 3 kids together and we're going to work on this skill, because that's what the data showed me.
Ms. Laffey says technology has shifted, but learning has not.
That's my favorite part, and it's seeing that transformation from the moment that they begin in your class where those skills aren't there.
Because today's pre-K students are tomorrow's workforce, leaders, and problem solvers. Jen Cardone, Queen City News.
South Carolina Republican voters can now head back to the polls for the U.S. Senate special primary runoff. Voters will choose between interim Senator Darlene Graham and Congressman Ralph Norman. A valid photo ID is required to cast a ballot. If you voted in the June Democratic primary, you're not eligible to vote in this runoff. Polls are open until 7 p.m. To find your polling location, you can scan the QR code on your screen, and it'll take you to our website, qcnews.com.
A former Border Patrol commander is getting attention now for his return here to the Queen City and the business where ICE agents arrested people during Operation Charlotte's Web. The interaction with Gregory Bovino has bakery owner Manolo Bentancur fearing for the East Charlotte community again. Bentancur says that he told Bovino he was not allowed on the property or inside his business. Queen City News anchor Will Lewis has more on Sunday's confrontation and why Bovino says he was there.
There's a lot of fear of you and a lot of fear of ICE and a lot of fear of what is going on in our nation.
Manolo Bentancur talking about the conversation he had with the former commander of U.S. Border Patrol, Greg Bovino, when Bentancur saw Bovino at the popular East Charlotte Bakery Sunday afternoon.
And he said, well, can be whatever I want, I'm free. I said, well, this is private property. You are not allowing this property.
Bovino and a cameraman were spotted in the parking lot of the bakery before Bentancur told them they weren't welcome. Last November, Bovino led Operation Charlotte's Web, a federal immigration enforcement sweep that resulted in over 1,300 arrests, with much of the activity starting in the parking lot of Manolo's bakery.
You are Manolo, you are the owner, you are the one who shut the business down in November, so you can protect all the illegals that you have over here.
The interaction in the parking lot lasted minutes, but Bovino says that's not what happened. In a statement to us, he says he never tried to enter the bakery. Bovino went on to say he was recording video of businesses from Operation Charlotte's Web when his videographer asked to buy something in the bakery, and Manolo declined.
I told him, if you are thinking about going inside the bakery, you are not going to go inside.
Bovino says he asked Bentancur, quote, why he would choose an illegal alien over an American citizen, and he was unable to answer. Bentancur says this interaction shows how his community and businesses remain under attack, from bad reviews of his bakery to someone recently throwing eggs at the business, and the hate speech keeps increasing. Bovino plans to post the entire video of the interaction online later this week. Will Lewis, Queen City News.
The Supreme Court siding with the Trump administration on mail-in voting restrictions, but it did not rule that the plan is legal. We're going to break down the arguments with our chief legal analyst, Collie Froats, after the break. You're watching Queen City News, the most honored and local news in Charlotte.
The time is 7:44. Welcome back. The Supreme Court is siding with the Trump administration on mail-in voting restrictions ahead of the midterm elections.
The plan would have mail-in ballots sent only to those on a federal list of eligible voters.
Now, the court did not decide the legality of the president's order, but said states who have sued did not have the legal right to challenge it. We want to bring in our chief legal analyst, Khalif Rhodes. Khalif, you teach us this all the time. It has to happen first before you can bring the challenge. Is that what the court's saying here?
Bananas, avocados, and court cases all have to be ripe. And so this isn't that they didn't have the right, not standing. That's a different issue. It's that it wasn't timely. It's the court saying everything that these 23 states are saying hasn't happened yet. You are speculating on it occurring, and because you're speculating it, you don't have an injury in fact. No injury in fact, you can't get this any type of outcome. You have to take a step back. When you look at what the lower court said, you have that injunction. The lower court was saying, hey, it's likely that they'll be successful if you look at this case on its merits, because this Supreme Court didn't even address the merits. So if you look at it on the merits, they'll be successful. Can irreparable harm happen? Well, if you disenfranchise someone from voting and take away their opportunity to vote, you can't throw money at it. Okay, so we recognize that will occur. It's in public policy and it's in the best interest of the states to operate elections, because that's what the Constitution says in Congress, not the president. So if you check all four of those boxes, it would seem like the right thing was done on the lower court. You move it to the Supreme Court, and they're looking at a number of things in terms of timing. I look at Ketanji Brown Jackson's dissent, where she says, well, you're saying they're speculating, but they're pointing to real present issues that are occurring right now. So there is harm that's happening, and the states would agree with that, just the majority didn't.
Is this a major win for the president, and is this the end, or do we see a bigger legal battle right around the corner?
I wouldn't call it a win, because like the court says, anything that he wants to implement hasn't occurred yet. And so while he is making directions to the United States Postal Service to do a number of things, while he's allowing a list to be compiled, there was no teeth behind this. If the Supreme Court said, yes, your executive order can require a list be created and states must follow lists, yeah, that would be a major win, but they didn't add that. What they said is, go ahead and compile your list, period. So you have a list that the states aren't required to follow. It will be, again, a dog would bark with no bite.
Okay, so we have obviously the midterms coming up in just a few short months. So what do voters need to know now? Is anyone who plans to vote by mail impacted by this?
There's no impact yet with this. But what I can tell you is what this court case does do is it puts the courts in a very weird situation, because there is standing case law that says you can't address these types of cases closer to an election. So for instance, if an injury occurs a month before midterms, a couple weeks before midterms, and someone attempts to file a claim, there is clear court precedent that says courts cannot then at that point step in. And that's what Jackson said as well. So you're saying you need to wait for a clear injury, but if an injury occurs within a closed time frame, the court can do nothing. So she was saying at some point the court needs to step in when injuries have occurred. I suspect that right now, as I said, the United States Postal Service has already said they're not going to implement whatever the president is asking to get done until a court orders them to do that. And so while they've had an opinion, they sent out a proposed rule change saying they will implement those things, but they won't force states to do this. And so right now, and I see this as a punt into an actual injury, in fact, occurs at the federal level, where now they can say, okay, we'll step in and make a change.
Okay, looking at the punt and saying with the sports analogy, can you look at the game footage and say there was a prior game where the Supreme Court already ruled this summer in terms of states' rights, in terms of voting, where they sided with the states. So looking at the tea leaves here, if this were to go to challenge, it kind of looks like we know where the Supreme Court would go.
100%. I mean, you're talking about the court case from March. I suspect that the court would rule the exact same way. It's 100% clear looking at the Constitution and at our case law that states, not the executive order, control elections. And so it would take a monster move, something like that we've never seen the court to do, to reject the Constitution and to reject, hundreds of year court precedent to say now, you're going to just go ahead and allow the federal government to dictate how elections run. I don't suspect that would happen. And so if this plays all the way out, I see it ending the same way that other case did, where the executive order cannot control.
All right, Khalif, thank you very much. Appreciate that. More topics with Khalif coming up next hour. In the meantime, let's get over to meteorologist Brandon Lawson. If you haven't been outside, you need to step out there. Cup of coffee, hot tea, something. Beautiful start to the Tuesday.
Yeah, this is our coolest start in 66 days, Jason. It's been that long since we've been down to 63 degrees. You got to go back to June 25th. That's when we dropped to 63. And we're at 63 degrees right now. That northerly breeze, a big reason why, bringing in the cooler air, but also the drier air. Dew points in the 50s, clearing the skies out. Now, as you get up to Boone, you see a school bus passing by there on King Street, 50 degrees. The kiddos might have had the hoodie or light jacket on as they headed to the bus stop up in Watauga County. I did check with Mount Mitchell up in Yancey County, again, one of the higher points there. Only 50 this morning, so maybe a little bit of a breeze, kind of keeping temperatures a little bit more moderated there. But again, a calm wind in Boone. We've got temperatures in Boone later today in the mid to upper 70s. I've got temperatures in the mid to upper 80s down towards the foothills, Piedmont, and possibly some low 90s as you're getting down towards the sand hills today. Again, the humidity will be on the rise, so we've got low humidity, comfortable conditions for now, but the humidity does increase by Wednesday and also into your Thursday. So that's going to bring back these dew points into the 60s and possibly near 70-degree dew points again by the end of the week. But we're going to dance to the 50-degree dew points while we can. Gorgeous conditions, drier air. High pressure and control building in from the north. Futurecast shows abundant sunshine through the day today. So again, a perfect day for a jog or maybe a recess for the kiddos today as they head back to school in Charlotte. Futurecast also shows some clouds building in as we go through tomorrow. So more humidity, more clouds, and a few more scattered showers and storms as well in the forecast. And even into Thursday, notice storms increasing Thursday afternoon and evening. And then also on Friday, we're still going to have some storms in the forecast. So unfortunately, rain chances and humidity is going to be increasing as we get towards the end of the week. Rain chances about 50 to 60% by Thursday and Friday in the tropics. We'll continue to monitor that for you. 2 disturbances. One of those will watch down the Atlantic Basin towards the west coast of Africa. 70% chance of tropical formation. That one will watch, but right now no threat to the U.S. 7-day forecast shows those mid to upper 80s with showers and storms increasing by Thursday and Friday, and even tomorrow we could get some storms, but we're mainly dry for the weekend. You're watching Queen City News Now. It's the most local news in Charlotte.
Welcome back. Queen City News brings you 6 hours of news each and every weekday morning. We still have 2 hours left to go, so here's a preview of what's ahead in our 8 and 9 o'clock hours. He's accused of threatening students at several Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools. So why, after months behind bars, was he released just days before the beginning of school? We're checking back in with our chief legal analyst, Collie Frodes, about the case coming up in our 9 o'clock hour. Plus, it is finally back to school for more than 140,000 students in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools. Queen City News anchor Savannah Rudisell joins us live with a look at what parents need to know as their kids head back to class. Plus, the U.S. and Canada almost in an all-out trade war. Coming up in our 8 o'clock hour, we'll have a live report from Washington, D.C., talking about what this tariff battle with our neighbors to the north means for you. You're watching Queen City News, the most honored in local news in Charlotte. A newly released video is highlighting some of the risks that batteries can cause while they're being charged. Whoa. This shows an e-bike battery exploding inside a Colorado apartment. The August 13th event it includes a tenant approaching the bike as it was charging. She was only about a foot away when it exploded. Investigators confirmed the battery was the source of that fire. The woman has been forced to stay at a hotel for the past week with her daughter, son, and 2 pets. She says she will probably never own an e-bike again, and if she does, she'll do things a lot differently.
I think I'll just plug them in far away from home if I ever decide to own one again, but at this point I don't think I do.
That woman says she only recently bought that e-bike.
Only on Queen City News Plus, Charlotte is a growing city. We know that, which means buying a home is getting harder and harder for the average person. Queen City News anchor Morgan Francis spoke with the president of Canopy Realtor Association about how student loans and parents are hindering and helping first-time buyers.
1 in 5 federal student loan borrowers are currently in default. Do you think that that will severely impact housing?
Once a student loan becomes the student's responsibility, we're seeing the bank of mom and dad come into play more than we ever have before, because many people's parents have this huge appreciation that they're sitting on for years in their home. And what better way to invest your money than your children? So I'm seeing that more than I ever have before, Morgan, but I do think long term it will affect the ability for individuals to be able to purchase a home.
And you can watch the entire episode of Turnkey right now for the price of free. Just download the Queen City News Plus app, which is also free on either your Roku, Samsung Smart TV, Fire TV, or Apple TV right now. All right, 7:59, 2 more hours to go. Make some more coffee, some hot tea. Let's kick off our 8 o'clock hour.
Queen City News starts now.
Well, the Charlotte area's largest school district is headed back to class today. A live look at West Meck High School as the students are back in the classroom. We saw the flurry of cars and all of that. Now everybody settled into the classroom. A few stragglers making their way in. With that, we want to welcome you in to Queen City News Now at 8 a.m. I'm Julian Sador.
I'm Annie Satowski.
I'm Jason Harper. Here we go. Brandon Lawson on the other end there, capping off a gorgeous start back to school. If you have nothing to do with school, maybe you're retired, maybe you don't have kids, and so today doesn't affect you, guess what does? The weather. How about that, right?
That's right. I mean, everything that you do outdoors is obviously going to be impacted by the weather conditions, and luckily, there's no impact from Mother Nature. Maybe a little sunburn if you're not careful, but
I'd be okay with that. Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to be a gorgeous day today. Again, plenty of sunshine, dry conditions, low humidity, all the things we love to hear, especially when we're still in the summer months. So a very comfortable forecast for you. Looking around the crown this morning, you can see it's a beautiful look out there. Our exclusive Arlington camera on the top right showing all those Carolina blue skies out there this morning, and then our other cameras around the region also showing really nice conditions too. So just a really pleasant day for those that are headed back to school today, and then also those that might be just headed outdoors for other activities, like maybe going on a nice jog or taking maybe the younger ones to the park or even recess at school. It's just a perfect day for all of it. So, and the reason I'm hyping it up so much is because today is the last day before we get the humidity back and also storm chances back in the forecast. So if you have any outdoor plans that you don't necessarily have a date you have to get it done yet this week, today should be your day, because again, it does get a little bit more unsettled and a little more uncomfortable towards the end of the week. We've got 50s in the mountains. Boone, I showed you earlier, they were down to 50 degrees, now up to 52. In Charlotte, we're up to 64. We dropped to 63. That's the coolest we've been in 61 days. 61 days, June 25th, we dropped to 63. So you talk about an incredible forecast for those kiddos headed back to school today. Perfect for recess, maybe lunch outdoors, and then low humidity with temperatures in the mid to upper 80s as we get into later this afternoon. Today's high temperature, 87 degrees. Again, that's even cooler than where we should be for this time of year. It's mostly sunny and comfortable with that northeasterly breeze. And then later tonight, I've got temperatures in the mid to upper 60s. Mostly clear and comfortable, but we will start to increase your humidity for tomorrow. We'll talk about the moisture surging up and also time out some storm chances at the end of the week, all coming up here in just a little bit. Jason?
All right, Brandon, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Yep, back to school traffic. We've been telling you about it all week long. We knew it was coming. And now with CMS launching about 140,000 students, and more than that when you look at personnel and teachers and administrative staff, yeah, it's congested. Look around, got about a dozen issues. Not all of these are major accidents. A lot of just volume out there from north, south, east to west, pretty much every area. Let's go west first, because that always happens every morning, whether we're in school or not. 85 north, you're looking at half an hour. To get up 85, you can see down below 85 at Cox Road, barely creeping to 5 miles an hour. So it's going to take you 30 minutes to get around through Lowell, McAdenville, eventually over to Belmont. There's an earlier accident. It's moved off to the shoulder, 85 northbound. That's part of the problem right there at Main Street in Lowell. But again, it gets a little better the closer you get to town. Here's your drive times. 37 minutes. That's the longest stretch. That's coming down from the Lake Norman, Cornelius area, coming up from South Carolina. You're looking at about 24 minutes. We've got an issue the west side of town causing some slowdowns too. This is 85 near Wilkinson. A lot of folks are using that maybe to either go to West Mac High School or the airport's right there. Either way, that congestion where 85 dumps into 45 on the west side of town, it is slow. Coming up from the south part of the city out of Union County, if you're coming up from Waxhaw or making your way up the Lancaster Highway, 521 is going to take you almost 40 minutes. Coming up some of those stretches, but whether it's Providence Road or Lancaster Highway through Indian Land, so be aware of that. 485 on the west side of town. This is just north of 85, coming down between Morris Chapel and Wilkinson. Look at that, 3 lanes, barely moving, 5 to 10 miles an hour. An earlier accident in Uptown, 77 at 277. You got a southbound lane blocked. You can see it from this camera up against the wall. Hazards, couple cars involved, slowing everyone down this morning. It eventually gets better, so just be aware of that. East Side Independence Boulevard, now it's the first time all day we've seen some clogged streets on the east side of town. We'll keep monitoring that. Put the phone away, don't be distracted. Busy, busy day, folks. Another update coming up at 8:30. Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools now officially back in session as of this morning.
That's right. The first day of class is now in session for thousands of students all across the county.
Queen City News anchor Savannah Russell live at South Mecklenburg High School with a message from district leader. Savannah, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. We know that district officials asking everybody, not just their students and families, but everybody within the Mecklenburg County area to have some patience. It's a message that we hear almost every year, one of those consistencies that you can count on in life, death, taxes, and somebody forgetting something on the first day of school. Out here outside of South Mecklenburg High School, we've seen a couple parents kind of pulling in, making sure somebody didn't forget that textbook, didn't forget that laptop charger, whatever it is that they need. We've known that they say there might be a few bumps just to get the year started. However, they say they feel as prepared as possible for their entire staff to hit the ground running. That was the message that we were hearing all morning long from district officials and what they told us here at the end of summers. They were also helping students and parents try to be ready to go on that first day of school with back to school events throughout the summer, as we saw at this one here, looking at Truist Field, making sure students had all the supplies that they needed. They also said at various hiring events that they've had here throughout the summer that those have been very successful and that they are ready to go as far as their teaching force. They've got more than 18,000 teachers and less than 2% of those teachers spots are still vacant. Now they are still hiring a few more bus drivers as well. That was another update that we heard just this morning from transportation officials saying that they still have a few substitute drivers, not those full-time drivers hitting those routes to make sure those are all covered for the morning, but they say those routes are ready to go. We also very briefly heard from Superintendent Dr. Crystal Hill. Now, she has been out previously for about the past 8 weeks on a suspension under investigation. Now, while they did not comment on the investigation itself nor its findings, Dr. Hill did have a very optimistic tone for the first day.
And so we have an amazing team. They have done everything that we had planned on 6 months prior and delivered it with excellence without exception. So just so incredibly proud of our team and just so incredibly proud of this year and all of the amazing things to come.
Now, the Board of Education meets this evening at 6 o'clock. We'll keep you updated if any major developments come from that. Reporting live in South Charlotte, Savannah Rudisell, Queen City News.
All right, Savannah, thank you. 8:07 the time now. President Donald Trump trading insults with Canadian leaders after he imposed new tariffs on Canadian imports, and he's threatening new ones. News Nation Washington correspondent Vinay Simlot joining us live from our nation's capital to explain the very latest. Vinay, good morning.
Julian, good morning to you. The president says he wants to add new tariffs, 50% on January 1st. On auto parts, cars, and steel coming across the northern border. This is after the president already added tariffs on Canada. The relationship with Canada, once neighborly, is now insulting. Ontario Premier Doug Ford had this message for President Donald Trump.
I have a lot of real estate on my so he has a lot of room to kiss my.
We have to remember, Canada is a state,
Freudian slip.
President Trump has long called for Canada to become the U.S.'s 51st state, but this round of cross-border contempt started when Canada walked away from trade negotiations on Friday.
An attitude at the negotiation table that Canada is a subsidiary of the United States. That's not something we're going to accept.
President Trump imposed 50% tariffs on some Canadian imports, not all of them. Some examples: makeup, wallpaper, liquor, and cement.
This is something where we don't actually expect a huge impact.
But President Trump also threatened 50% tariffs on cars, car parts, and steel to go into effect on January 1st. U.S. automakers have major plants in Canada, and American-made cars often cross the northern border multiple times during production.
We are actually going to fight back against unfair trade practices, whether it's coming from China or Canada.
Again, that was Renee Simlot reporting. The Associated Press is also reporting President Trump is considering new tariffs on imports from China. Economists generally say American consumers pay for tariffs, so President Trump says it's foreign countries.
South Carolina Republican voters can now head back to the polls for the U.S. Senate special primary runoff. Voters will be choosing between interim Senator Darlene Graham and Congressman Ralph Norman. A valid photo ID is required to cast your ballot. If you voted in the June's Democratic primary, you're not eligible to vote in this runoff. It is for Republicans. Polls are open. They opened about an hour ago at 7. They close tonight at 7 p.m.
North Carolina Governor Josh Stein is questioning WakeMed's proposed merger with Charlotte-based Atrium Health. He sent a letter to WakeMed's president and CEO last week asking about a dozen questions on particulars of the proposal, including financials and oversight. Stein also wants to know what guarantees Atrium has provided to make sure WakeMed's prices won't go up. Wake County commissioners will ultimately decide whether to approve or deny the deal. The merger would put Atrium in charge of WakeMed. President Trump is working to slash the cost of beef by temporarily allowing more foreign imports without triggering higher tariffs. North Carolina cattle farmers are bracing for the effects of that move. Queen City News reporter David Schuman spoke to some who feel the president is undermining them and hurting their livelihood.
Profit Family Cattle Company in Kings Mountain has customers willing to pay a premium for high-quality beef. Shelley Prophet Egan believes most consumers aren't as discerning.
In the actual marketplace and the stores, you know, people are going to see American beef is going to be a little bit higher.
Egan and cattle farmers like her aren't happy with President Donald Trump's effort to lower beef prices, which were 9% higher last month than the year before. Trump announced Friday the U.S. will import ground beef without tariffs to be sold at 25% below market for the next 90 days. He's declined to say where the beef will come from.
It's bad. It's bad for the American farmers. I think that it undermines what the American cattleman's trying to do.
This is a negative for the cattle industry. I don't care any way you look at it. This is a bad thing.
Matt Bell, who raises commercial cattle with his family at Bell Farm Supply in Kings Mountain, told us he's livid about what President Trump is doing, and he doubts the move will even bring down prices all that much.
This is pure politics. I think he's trying to buy votes for the midterms. And I think his knowledge of agriculture is very limited. Doing this is not going to help any cattle farmer or rancher in this country.
It feels like just a real lack of awareness.
Shelley says American cattle are raised to meet American tastes. She says imported ground beef from an unknown location will likely not be as high quality and possibly not as safe. In a statement to Queen City News, a White House spokesperson said President Trump has repeatedly affirmed his support for America's ranchers and farmers. While the administration will be easing tariffs on beef imports to address a short-term supply crunch, the administration is simultaneously working closely with ranchers to grow America's cattle herd size, which is currently at a multi-decade low. He declined to answer our questions about where the beef will come from and how consumers can be sure it's safe. David Schuman, Queen City News.
The defense in Lindsay Clancy's triple murder trial asks for a mistrial, and the judge says no. We're explaining the latest on the case with our chief legal analyst, Cully Frodes, coming up after the break. Brandon, what's coming up?
Well, what's coming up is the space launch that we saw this morning. I got a great video of it. I'll show you what it looks like. And we're also going to be talking about clear skies, how long they'll last, and when the humidity and storms return. That's all coming up here in just a bit. You're watching Queen City News now. It's the most iron, most local news in Charlotte. Live look over Independence Boulevard as we head to break.
Welcome back. The judge in the Lindsey Clancy trial has denied a motion for a mistrial after a forensic psychologist discussed Clancy's upbringing in the Catholic faith.
Clancy is on trial for killing her 3 children, and prosecutors say it was deliberate, but her defense team says that she was experiencing postpartum psychosis.
Joining us again now, our chief legal analyst, Khalif Rhodes. Khalif, you hear the word mistrial. I mean, how high does the bar have to be for a judge to declare a mistrial?
Well, there has to be something that occurs improper, so much so that now the jury just can't go backwards. And so if something improper occurs and the judge obviously makes a decision, he'll make a decision to strike what was just said. And so in the situation that happened yesterday, the doctor makes this statement. Instantly, her attorney jumps up and like, hey, that's improper. They do a sidebar. They approach. The judge instructs the jury as he's supposed to. Disregard what you just heard. All right, now we're going to continue to move forward. If the judge felt like, okay, this was something that was so disastrous that regardless of any instruction that I give them, they can't unhear what they just heard, then now they'd have to obviously start again with a new trial, new jury selection. I mean, a number of things are going to be considered when you're thinking about that. I mean, how many witnesses overall have you heard? How damaging were the statements that were made? Is it some crucial piece of evidence that you fabricated when you said it that was never introduced at any point throughout this case? Yeah, that may be something that's disastrous that you can't come back from. And even if you instructed the jury to disregard that, they're still going to be thinking about it in the back of the mind. What about that key piece of evidence that he talked about that really never existed? I think something like that would be to that level where, okay, a mistrial needs to be granted. In this scenario right here, this is the second time that moral sin statement has been brought up, attempting to connect her criminality to her Catholic religion or her understanding of what wrongdoing is. And so that shifting of the burden of the standard is improper, and because it's improper, her defense rightfully jumped up and had an opposition to that.
This whole case rests on mental illness, right? So we've heard from the defense, who put up 2 psychiatrists and psychologists saying, yes, I think she was in the throes of postpartum psychosis. Then you have the prosecution over Friday and yesterday, probably again today, having 2 other mental health experts saying, no, she wasn't. As a jury member, how do you go about weighing who is right and who to believe if you have all these experts saying 2 completely different things?
That's the best part about it, being a juror. It is your opportunity to put weight to whoever you want to give weight to. And so you're not going to be able to say, you know what, the judge is going to say, weigh this one better than that. The judge is going to allow them to be entered as an expert. You take that expert testimony, and then you, as the trier of fact, will say, I believe them more or I don't. And sometimes it's personality, sometimes it's delivery, sometimes it's just you have better understanding and following the way they're describing what they're describing. But yeah, there's no weight given to one based on, okay, I've done this 500 times, like this expert yesterday said he's testified 300 plus times, 330, both for prosecution and defense. One thing I thought was key, he says only 25% of his work has been for prosecutors. Typically, I'm looking for that expert that's only testifying for prosecutors. So I can say, well, you're going to say this every time. Because he said, hey, I don't believe her hallucination story. Well, I would want to say, well, how many times have you believed it? Well, if you've defended folks and testified on their behalf 75% of the time, then it's likely that he has, believed his folks when they're on that defense side.
Khalif, you were just talking about it's up to the jury to decide who they believe more. When you look at the prosecution, the fact that it's been dinged twice on this moral sin, do you start to look at this as a jury or as a defense attorney, hope they see, well, they're resorting to this, that must mean their case isn't that strong?
No, I mean, a lot of times you have jury prep, right? When you're talking to the witness and allowing them to know, look, these are the types of questions that I'm going to ask you, while you can't force feed them and say, hey, I'm going to tell you exactly what to say. What you are doing is preparing them. And so part of that, because you know that this has already occurred in this trial, you should have already instructed them avoid any type of moral sin type of response, like don't go down that path if you want to go down that path. But yeah, I think the jury is probably looking at them like, okay, this already happened one time. It shouldn't be happening again. But a lot of times jurors are just like, they're trying to listen intently. They're trying to take notes. And so when things like this happen where they have to be removed or there has to be a sidebar, it disrupts the normal flow of what you want a jury to have. So it's probably hurting the prosecution more for just flow than anything else. The other portion that I say that he would testify yesterday was that he tried to make the distinction between him being an expert and the defense's expert by saying, I would never testify as an expert for someone that I treated in the past because there's a conflict. One of the defense's experts had done that in the past, and he was trying to, distance himself more to what you say, giving light to, and who should you look at better. He's saying, well, I wouldn't even have been here testifying for her if I treated her in the past. Basically, you shouldn't listen to this other expert because he has a conflict. I thought that was a good strategy. Remove the moral sin comment. Other than that, he was a good expert yesterday.
All right. Khalif, thank you.
It is 8:21 right now. Beautiful outside. Still hanging in the 60s, the low 60s with low humidity, Brandon.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day today. We had those clear skies overnight last night, and that allows us to get a good view of the SpaceX Falcon 9. It's actually from my cell phone. I took it just on our back porch, essentially, here at our West Charlotte Queen City News studios, and looked east-southeast, and here it was, the SpaceX Falcon 9. And you can see, again, the exhaust from this. That kind of leads to that jellyfish-looking cloud there. And essentially, these are just hot gases mixing with the atmosphere. And also, why it looks so vibrant, well, the sun's starting to rise. So the sun's shining on the rocket, but it's still dark here at the surface. Just giving us that beautiful view this morning. I mean, just look at that. That is incredible. I did darken it up a little bit here just so you can just kind of see it there as it went over the tree line. The trees were my biggest worry for me this morning. It was low on the horizon. Hopefully you got a good view. High pressure's in control. Drier air continuing to funnel into the Carolinas. Temperatures this morning in the 60s with 50s in the mountains. A very cool and comfortable start with high temperatures only in the mid to upper 80s today. We'll take that compared to the upper 90s yesterday, 70s in the mountains. Dew points today are in the 50s. Now, I want to point something out. This is today's dew points. This is tomorrow's dew points. We're up in the mid-60s, getting a little bit more humid, muggy in Chester and Lancaster tomorrow in the 70s. This is Thursday's dew points. So dew points will be back near 70 degrees by the next 48 hours. So you want to make sure you enjoy today. Again, a lot of sunshine. Get outside. Take advantage of the nice weather today. We get more clouds tomorrow. Again, a sign of more moisture building in. And we also get more storm chances. Scattered showers and storms build in as we go into Wednesday afternoon and evening. And then as we go into Thursday, look at all this moisture streaming in from the Gulf out ahead of this next frontal boundary. So Thursday, scattered showers and storms then. And then also as we go into Friday, we're still going to be tracking more scattered showers and storms. Could be another rainy night for some of those Friday night football teams out there. Quick look at the tropics here. Get your tropical outlook. There's a disturbance in the northern Atlantic. No threat to the U.S. There is a disturbance coming off the coast of Africa, a wave there. that could produce a hurricane or a tropical system over the next week or so. We'll keep an eye on it. It's no threat over the next 10 days, but something we'll have to watch as it moves into the central Atlantic. 7-day forecast keeps us comfortable today, more humid tomorrow, with showers and storms increasing by Thursday and Friday before drying out a bit just in time for the weekend, Jason.
All right, nice stretch ahead, Brandon. Look at this, beautiful. Carolina blue skies on loan to New York City this morning. Empire State Building futures look just as nice. The Dow's up 260, S&P and NASDAQ, and the green will join Jane King live at the New York Stock Exchange right after this break. Pixar's Cars movie revs up for a 20th anniversary re-release, 20 years, and President Trump wants 1,000 rocket launches per year. There was one this morning. Jane King's live at the New York Stock Exchange with those stories and more. Jane, good Tuesday morning.
Happy Tuesday to you too, Jason. And stock futures are strong. Oil is down this morning. Yesterday, chip stocks fell, so that dragged on the NASDAQ, the S&P 500. Of course, we also had the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, revealing sweeping sanctions on Iran and countries that do business with Iran. So, but doesn't appear to be weighing on stocks at all this morning. Well, the Trump administration looking to dramatically expand the private space industry within the next few years. Now, the president signed a new memo to enable at least 1,000 rocket launches and re-entries per year by 2030. That's up from 178 launches last year. Now, the memo also calls on NASA to explore robotic access to Mars, as well as commercial spacecraft to send humans to the Red Planet. And somehow, 20 years have passed since the first Cars movie was released. The Pixar animated film starring Owen Wilson and Paul Newman will make a victory lap in theaters to honor Lightning McQueen Day, which is September 5th, 9/5, which was the race car's signature number in the movie. Jason?
20 years, 20 years. The movie has aged. Thankfully, Jane, you and I have not.
My son's 19, and he had a little Cars blanket when he was like 1. So,
listen.
yeah,
my wife and I are 50, and she still wears She's got some Crocs that I think have Lightning McQueen on them. She wears them to this day. Just saying, it's a favorite of kids and adults alike.
And it's a movie that's held up really well. It's
Yeah.
still very good.
Yeah, it absolutely has.
Yeah.
Great music, too. All right, Jane, listen, thank you so
Yep.
much. Market's open in an
Thanks.
hour.
Okay.
We'll join you right after the opening bell. Appreciate that. As we go to break today, want to give you a live look at Carolina's Cornerstone Church in Fort Mill, looking at those opening doors. Not a lot of activity, but the polls have been open for an hour and a half. They close tonight at 7 for the state's Senate special election, the runoff in South Carolina for Republicans. We'll keep you up to date throughout the morning. We'll be back. On your Tuesday morning. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Amy Satowski.
I'm Julian Sador.
I'm Jason Harper. Good Tuesday, everyone. Meteorologist Ted Phaeton still off enjoying their new addition to their family. We've got Brandon Lawson saying, hey, you should be outside enjoying whatever, whether it's
Everything.
a new baby, maybe a new puppy, taking your kids, dropping them off at school. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, just a gorgeous day today. I always think about the jogs. You know, I know a lot of people like to jog outdoors.
Yeah.
And just how miserable it is during the summer outdoors to jog. And this is the summer day to do it, right? Dry air, comfortable conditions. And unfortunately, tomorrow, you know, y'all aren't going to be smiling at me like you are now.
Oh, no. He's warned us.
The humidity is coming back. But at least we got today to just reminisce, you know, what Mother Nature's provided us. Again, we've got nice conditions out there. We have seen a few high-thin cirrus clouds stream through here over the last, I'd say, hour or so. But otherwise, we're seeing a lot of clear skies out there this morning, which is providing what is going to be another beautiful day here across the Carolinas. So again, get outside, enjoy it, take advantage of it. It is going to be a really, really nice day today. And temperatures are still in the 60s this morning. So if you're trying to get outside this morning, morning. When it's cool, we're still cool in the 60s for the most part. Here's a look at the setup again. We've got that frontal boundary that pushed through over the weekend. Behind it, high pressure is building in from the northwest, and that is providing more of that drier, cooler air mass to build in. Now to the south, you can see again, we've got all that moisture building in over the southeast and Florida. You can kind of see those pop-up storms. Those are going to be returning to our forecast as we go into tomorrow. 60 in Statesville right now, 60 in Salisbury. Man, up towards I-40, we almost dropped into the 50s this morning there in Iredell County and Rowan County. We did drop into the 50s in the mountains this morning, still there at 55 in Jefferson, 53 up in Boone. I've got 65 in the Queen City. Now, South Carolina's special primary runoff is again happening today. If you're going out to vote, your forecast looks good throughout the entire day. You know, on these hot summer days, normally I'd tell you get out early before it heats up and gets the most steamy part of the day. It gets to the most steamy part of the day, but honestly, the whole forecast looks great. Again, polls close at 7. If you're in line before 7 o'clock, you will get a chance to vote. 87 in Charlotte, 86 in Salisbury. I've got 89 in Chester today, 91 in Lancaster, one of the warmer spots with those 70s in the mountains. And again, your pollen forecast, if you're outside, enjoy this nice weather. You come in sniffling and sneezing. Ragweed pollen and grass pollen is still on the rise. Even got a little bit of mold as well. Coming up in just a bit, we're going to be talking about those storm chances returning and timing it out for you, Jason.
All right, Brandon, thank you so much. Let's take a look outside for pinpoint traffic. This is the picture we're seeing all across town. Slow on the west side, 45 north of 85 between Moores Chapel and the 485-85 interchange. It is just slow. That's not an accident. That's just volume. There's so much volume added today with almost 200,000 extra folks going to school between students and faculty with CMS going back this morning. Got a dozen issues from all the way out west, all inside the 485 loop this morning. Again, these aren't all accidents. That's just a lot of volume. It's just very congested. 85 northbound is going to take you almost 45 minutes to get up 85. Down below, you can see it's finally moving at about 15, 20 miles an hour near Cox Road, but 42 minutes to get from Gastonia to Belmont this morning. An earlier accident that you can see here has been moved off near Cox Road, Main Street in Lowell there. It's been moved to the shoulder. It's just got everything backed up beyond that. Here's those drive times showing coming down from Mooresville, Cornelius. 30 minutes, 26 minutes coming up from Rock Hill. So just be prepared for that on the west and the north side of town. Coming up from Union County, Lancaster County, if you're coming up 521 Lancaster Highway, it's going to take you a little over half an hour. Same from Waxhaw. Coming up Providence, trying to get to 45. It's going to be slow going this morning. Union County went back yesterday. Still dealing with an earlier lane block, 77 South. In Uptown, this is right near 277. It's been moved off to the shoulder. We've been watching a lot of activity in this video up against the wall there. A couple of cars, looks like 3 or 4 maybe involved with their hazards on. It's just got that right lane really slow. Everyone's curious to see what's going on there as well. So Independence Boulevard looking good on the east side of town. Put the phone away, please. A lot of teen drivers out there. We'll wrap up your traffic coming up at the top of the 9 o'clock hour. Right now, thousands of teachers all across Mecklenburg County are going over their expectations, their syllabus, and everything for this year with their new students.
It's the first day of class for Charlotte and Mecklenburg schools.
Queen City News anchor Savannah Rizal is live in South Charlotte with a look at the new tech the district is rolling out this year. Savannah, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Now, as you've been keeping an eye on traffic inside the studio, we've been witnessing it here out in the field, and we can definitely tell that even though school has started, we are well into the school day now. As again, for high schools, they started around 7:15, like here at South Meck, a little bit later for some elementary and middle schools, but it's very clear that there are so many more drivers out on the road that your typical commute may get slowed down. So for this year, in order to keep track of where your kid is after they hop on the bus, the Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools is now starting what they call Alpha Portal. It's a new app that's now updated to give parents live bus tracking information, give them notifications too as to when that bus arrives at its destination. Also is the place to find any route changes or any possible substitutes. Again, there are thousands of new teen drivers out on the road and kids getting to different schools from last year as well. Alpha Portal, they say, is going to be able to keep parents updated on where those bus riders are at any point in the day. CMS officials say about half of their student population, close to 70,000 students, take the bus to school each and every day. So early this morning, on the first day, we were able to talk to the head of CMS's transportation department about what it's like to get this large-scale operation rolling.
We are and still remain the largest bus transportation in North Carolina. This year, we're rolling out 750 buses. Currently, we have 98 vacancies. However, we have every available staff member driving to lessen the impact for our students and families across the district.
Now, we also very briefly heard from Superintendent Dr. Crystal Hill. Talked about some of the work that she had been doing leading up to the first day, as well as the work done in her absence over the summer. We're going to talk a little bit more about that coming up here in our next half hour. Reporting live in South Charlotte, Savannah Rudisell, Queen City News.
Savannah, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Here in North Carolina, some communities growing rapidly, even as others are seeing enrollment decline.
That means families are moving, and that could be a big deal.
That's right. Matt Stell explains why that shift may help shape the next generation of public education.
While North Carolina continues to grow, many school districts are preparing for fewer students as shifting population trends reshape public education.
A few counties, a few of our far western counties have seen some population declines, and then a few counties in the southeast. But by far, the biggest cluster of counties that have seen consistent decline is in the northeast.
Nathan Dollar from Carolina Demography at UNC Chapel Hill says migration is the biggest reason, with families looking for better opportunities in metro areas like Charlotte and Raleigh.
At any given place, there's always people moving in and there's people moving out.
But declining birth rates, changes in immigration, and an aging population are making it harder than ever to predict what comes next.
We're a little bit in a period of demographic uncertainty, perhaps the most that we've been in our lifetimes.
How does this all play into a decreasing public school enrollment here in North Carolina?
I would say that it's likely that the school-age population is going to continue to decline. Almost all districts saw declines in enrollment last year.
One of those places not seeing that type of decline is Cabarrus County Schools, one of the fastest growing districts in the state, now serving more than 35,000 students.
We're seeing our average daily membership and our school enrollment numbers continue to increase. Not at the same rate that they did about 2-3 years ago, but still we're looking at about a good 1.2% clip.
District leaders say the growth is not necessarily county-wide, but the increase still has been big enough that there is a need for new campuses, like Coltrane Webb STEM Elementary School in downtown Concord, opening this fall.
If you come to Coltrane Webb, no matter what grade, no matter who you're with, you are with the best.
But even growing districts are competing for students, with more families choosing private schools, charter schools, or homeschool options. That reality forces district leaders to explore more innovation.
It's always about staying on the cutting edge and beginning to form relationships with those families, whether they choose Cabarrus County Schools or they choose another opportunity.
So even with bright spots, leaders say they're all facing the same challenge, adapting to a future where fewer children doesn't necessarily mean fewer expectations. Matt Stell, Queen City News.
8:40 the time now. Tonight, we'll find out who South Carolina Republicans want to represent them in the U.S. Senate. The field of GOP candidates seeking to replace the late Senator Lindsey Graham down to two: his sister, interim Senator Darlene Graham, and Congressman Ralph Norman. With little polling released over the past 2 weeks, it's hard to get a real feel for where the campaigns stand, but both are trying to drum up support, mostly through high-level endorsements. Chief Political Correspondent Andy Weber reports.
Good luck, Darlene. Good luck. Gonna have a big win.
Candidates are in the final sprint as South Carolina Republican voters head to the polls on Tuesday to nominate a replacement for the late Lindsey Graham. President Trump reaffirmed his support for Lindsey's sister, Darlene Graham, during a rally in Myrtle Beach on Friday and a phone call with media and supporters on Monday.
After her beloved brother, Senator Lindsey Graham, passed away unexpectedly, I asked Darlene, I went up to her, I said, Darlene, run. I know her. She'll be fantastic.
Graham has promised to not be a typical politician.
I'm not going to go up there for power, for money, or any of that. I'm going up there because I have a true servant's heart like Lindsey did, and I want to continue to fight for this state and help this state.
Norman doesn't have the president's backing, but he has promised to support Trump's agenda. He's had several endorsements come in over the past few days, including former South Carolina governor and Senate candidate Mark Sanford.
You know where I stand on the major issues. You know how I have voted under the bright lights. I do think that I bring a certain urgency to get things done because of where we are as a country.
Again, that was Andy Weber reporting. Polls are now open. They'll close at 7 tonight. Whoever wins will face Democrat Dr. Annie Andrews in November.
Well, every day we are getting closer and closer to more Panthers football. We'll tell you what head coach Dave Canales is saying as the Black and Blue get ready to take on the Texans in just a few short days. You're watching Queen City News, the most honored and local news in Charlotte.
Welcome back. Time is 8:45. The Carolina Panthers continue to do some fine-tuning ahead of their final preseason game and the regular season in just a few weeks.
And plus, they're not the only Carolina team getting ready for football.
Carolina Sports Live's Joey Ellis has that in your morning sports.
It's another game week for the Carolina Panthers, finishing out the preseason with a preseason finale on Friday. It's an off day, I should say, today for the Panthers before they welcome a very stingy, very tough defense in the Houston Texans to town on Wednesday for part of joint practices before Friday's preseason finale. But the big thing now for this team the rest of the way is figuring out some positions still, especially at that linebacker position. The green dot, it's small, but still the responsibility that comes with it is anything but. Claudin Sherrills and Trevin Wallace, they're entering this final week of the preseason running neck and neck for that second linebacker spot beside Devin Lloyd. It's a competition between two friends and really a chance for Sherrills to show he can do more to find the football and also at the same time put the entire defense in position to find him with it.
Head to head, it's back and forth, and it's neck and neck. Again, I've talked about this before, but these are guys who aren't just teammates; these are friends, and they understand that. They understand what they're up against.
Communication and mindset is the biggest thing, just across the league in general. I don't think you can get by in this league by just being a freak of nature, like a freak athlete, off-ball linebacker. Just all the communication, the checks, the front sets, just knowing where you're supposed to be, solving the pieces of the puzzle. You have to be ready to do that inside linebacker in this league.
Right to the college ranks to North Carolina, set to begin their season with week 0 on Saturday in Dublin, Ireland. How about Jordan Shipp, the Charlotte native, former Providence Day standout, now entering his junior year in Chapel Hill after a sizable jump in his sophomore year and really his first year playing under the legendary Bill Belichick. 60 catches, 671 yards, 6 touchdowns a season ago. To no surprise, the most productive returner inside that receiver room for the Tar Heels. Now with Bobby Petrino calling plays as the new offensive coordinator. But for Chip and really for this Carolina team, It's playing outside of the United States that'll be certainly a new experience and really a learning curve as the Tar Heels adjust to a much different environment.
Who wouldn't want to play? It's a free trip out the country to go play football, you know? So, I mean, I'm super excited. It's my first time going out the country. My family's first time going out the country as well. So just being able to experience that at such a great, prestigious school like this and everything like that with a bunch of my brothers and a lot of my closest friends, I'm super excited.
Playing in, particularly here in Ireland, it's kind of the reverse of going to the West Coast. From a timing standpoint, it's similar. This game has some obviously differences to it in terms of being over there a little bit earlier. They're all different. I'm not saying that, but in terms of travel, I mean, it's not like going to Australia or, someplace like that.
So ahead of week 0 for North Carolina and TCU in Dublin on Saturday, we'll get you set for game day as the Tar Heels look to have a much bigger jump into year 2 under Bill Belichick. Johnson C. Smith University, the HBCU here in Charlotte, coming off a historic season in Division II a season ago. They're gearing back up for their season opener August 29th. We're heading out to practice there later today. We'll hear from head coach Maurice Flowers, and we'll dive much more into the Carolina Panthers welcoming the Texans to town for joint practices on Wednesday. We got all that and a lot more tonight at 11 o'clock on Carolina Sports Live.
Let's bring in meteorologist Brandon Lawson. I mean, the weather that it feels like it makes me so ready for college football.
Yeah.
Friday night under the lights. Like, it gets me excited about the fall.
Yeah, it just gets you excited about the fall, and then we see this graphic behind me. And
There's that.
I think I started with the wrong graphic. And here's the funny thing. I was like, it was like 4 o'clock this morning when we were on the air, and I saw this graphic for the first time, and I just shot back on there. I was like, wait a second. Those bars are going up too high. Yeah, the humidity is going to be increasing towards the end of the week, but you're right, Jason. This cool kind of fallish feel this morning is really getting me ready for the football season as well. My Tar Heels will be at Atchison Saturday for week 0, so hopefully they can pick things up a little bit this year. Here's look at your Buggy meter. Again, we're comfortable today and really through tonight, and then by tomorrow morning, probably around this time tomorrow, you're going to start to feel that humidity a little bit, and then by Thursday, you're really going to feel the air you can wear. Again, that is going to be that tropical air mass really building into the area. And this drier air is in store for now, though. We got to enjoy today while it's here. High pressures building in from the north. We've got that northeasterly flow bringing in the cooler and drier air. There's a few high clouds building through, but for the most part, we are mostly sunny this morning. We'll be mostly sunny through the day today. It's going to be, again, a fantastic day to get outdoors. If you have any outdoor plans you've been kind of delaying, this is a perfect day to get it done because, again, low humidity, cool temperatures, and, again, mostly sunny skies. You can't ask for better. Now, as we go into your Wednesday, a few clouds. That's a sign of more moisture building back into the area. We also have scattered showers and storms developing for Wednesday afternoon and evening. Another sign that moisture is coming back. So, again, as we go into Wednesday night, we start to dry out, but then here comes a front back to the west. This is going to build in, and that's going to surge more moisture our way. So scattered showers and storms build in for Thursday afternoon and evening. And then on Friday, we've got more scattered showers and storms in the forecast as this boundary slowly works its way through the area. But for now, let's enjoy the lower humidity while it's here because storm chances will be going up towards the end of the week. 40% chance of storms tomorrow, 50% on Thursday, 60% chance of storms on Friday. And then we get a bit drier for the weekend. Dew points this morning, man, this is incredible. We're in the 50s for dew points. I've actually been kind of just sticking my head outside in between weather hits just so I can get a little taste of what you guys are feeling as you head out the door this morning. 55 in Boone, 65 in Charlotte, 70 degrees in Sherrill. That'll be the warmer spot today that could maybe get to 90 degrees. Same with Lancaster. We'll be shocked if Rock Hill got to 90 today. So if you're looking to vote there, I know they have to run off elections, South Carolina. Again, temperature is going to be the lower 90s by the afternoon. So if you're looking for the cooler weather pattern, obviously best to vote this morning. Mid-80s towards Charlotte with those 70s in the mountains. Your mountain forecast showing those 70s here as we go through this week. We will see storm chances increasing in the mountains tomorrow and through the end of the week with scattered storms to start the weekend. 7-day forecast for Charlotte. It's comfortable, more humid for tomorrow. And then we got more showers and storms building in for Thursday and Friday. A bit drier as we head towards the weekend. Definitely want to stick around. In the next hour, I'm going to have your race forecast of Daytona, your Skeeter Beater forecast. So things you don't want to miss if you're going to be heading out to that or you're trying to get rid of some of those mosquitoes. We'll be right back after this. You're watching Queen City News Now, the most local news in Charlotte.
Welcome back. 8:55. The time. A celebration Saturday in Philadelphia commemorated what may have been the world's very first selfie. The Philadelphia Historic District 250th Committee hosted Selfie Fest. The photo that may have been the first selfie was actually taken in Philadelphia by Robert Cornelius using a homemade camera in 1839. Jackson Warren, a distant descendant of Cornelius, was at Selfie Fest.
Grew up in the age of the selfie, and now it's just ubiquitous. But it's cool to have a connection to the guy that did it first. And it's funny, I have a lot of photographers in my family too, so I think that might have carried through.
There you go. The next time you take a selfie, know that it was created and invented here in America.
And instead of saying cheese, say ubiquitous.
There you go.
See what kind of selfie that looks like. Okay, here we go. Maybe you want to take some selfies at the zoo today. How about that capybara there? This is the annual weigh-in day in London at the zoo there. The animals' health statistics, they all get recorded and monitored. Creatures all shapes and sizes. Again, the capybara siblings, Kiwi and Gizmo, they tip the scales at 99 and 110. Oh, that's cute. You get a giant magnolia land snail. That weighed in just over 3.5 ounces. Look at that. It looks like a leaf. It's like a leaf bug. The Conservation Zoo. Clearly, I'm not a zoologist. The Conservation Zoo, they take these measurements every year, add it to a database. Conservationists all over the world helps them compare the information on thousands of endangered species. And a very unusual call for the Watertown Police Department up in New York after someone let out the horses out of the stable last week. 3 horses and 2 zebra escaped from a traveling circus, and the department had to be called in to wrangle up the performers after making sure that they all were back in their place. The circus had just enough time to get their weekend performances in. Whew, just in the nick of time. All right, we've got another hour to go on Queen City News. Take a quick break. We will be back.
starts now.
Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Welcome into the 9 o'clock and final hour of Queen City News. I'm Jason Harper.
I'm Andy Satowski.
I'm Julian Sador. I'm meteorologist Brandon Lawson. For meteorologist Ted Fate this morning, it has been a busy morning, guys.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
The forecast have been forecasting for the election down in South Carolina, back to school forecast.
You caught a rocket launch this morning at 5:30.
I mean, it's just been for a quiet weather day.
Nonstop.
It's definitely been nonstop. But I will say, it's always a good day to be nonstop, but you're not having to track storms. I'll take it.
Take
One
that
day,
every
sunshine,
time.
dry conditions. I'll take a rocket launch over a severe thunderstorm warning any day, especially for the region. This is a live look from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Again, looking over Concord. Always a good view of my hometown there at Concord. Love America's home for racing. We'll be back here in less than a couple months now, towards mid-October. So won't be long for NASCAR is back at the track. You can see there's a few high cirrus clouds kind of hovering over the sun there a little bit, likely keeping Concord from warming up a little bit. And the Concord Paget Airport just down the road from that, so probably not getting too much sun there either. Lows this morning, look at where we started the day. Upper 50s and low 60s this morning. It was the coolest start we've had since late June. 63 degrees was the temperature. It's the coolest it's been since June 25th. Man, we needed this, right? Big cool off for us. 57 this morning in Morganton earlier this morning. 50 is what we dropped to in Boone, and this is all because high pressure is in control. It's clearing the skies out. Now, we have a few broken cirrus clouds working their way in the forecast, but it's still going to be mostly sunny for most of the day today. Now, clear versus cloudy nights. This is important. Whenever you have clear nights, that allows heat to escape out into the atmosphere. Think about when you're going to bed at night. If you put the covers over you and then you just take them off, obviously heat's going to escape your body and you're going to cool off pretty quickly. However, if you keep the blanket on, keep the covers on, and we have clouds overnight, that essentially traps the heat. Clouds trap heat like a blanket, so heat can't escape. Thus, we get a warmer night. But the lucky thing is we've got dry air, less humidity. So drier air is why we have clear skies, low and high pressure in control. Temperatures are getting into the mid to upper 60s now. 70 in Concord, so actually kind of warm there. 70 in Sherall, we've got 57 in Boone, and today's high temperatures will be right around the mid to upper 80s, right where we should be for this time of year, with those mid 70s of the mountains. Coming up in just a little bit, we'll be talking about the storm chances increasing, and also your muggy meter and mosquito meter, all coming up here in just a few minutes, Jason.
All right, Brandon, I don't like either one of those meters, but okay, we'll be ready for it. That's how it goes. Listen, we're on the backside of our rush-o-meter. How about that, right? Our rush hour traffic-o-meter. It's actually much better, right? We had about a dozen incidents 30 minutes ago. Now we're down to about 7 or 8. None of these are major accidents. So that's good news. So many more people out on the roads today with CMS being back in action with schools and school buses today. Some of the volume still happening out west. It's picking up a little bit between Gastonia and Belmont. It was up to 45 minutes. Now we're down to about half of that. On 85, the earlier accident cleared up. So we're looking down at Cox, 85 and Cox Road down below. Here's your drive times, including coming down from Lake Norman, coming in from Rock Hill. But look at that, 53 minutes collectively from Gastonia all the way to 485. That is a long stretch first day back to school. Here's some drive times coming up from Union County, Lancaster County. If you're coming up Highway 75 to 485 or up Providence Road, a little over half an hour. Definitely a lot slower with everyone back on the road today. Still dealing with an accident just north of Uptown. 77 right at the interchange with 277. One of the lanes southbound blocked. You can see here in this camera. It's still up against the wall there. 3 or 4 cars. Hazards are on. I don't see any like road crews out there. Maybe they're still exchanging information, but that right lane is stopped as people are curious just to see what's going on. Inbound Independence on the right-hand side of the road looking pretty good for the most of it. A little slow up around the bend. That is to be expected with so many people trying to get into Uptown. If you're headed to the airport, there are your drive times. Be responsible. Even on the back end of the day when everyone comes home from school. Today, we'll start all over tomorrow morning at 4:30 with your pinpoint traffic.
Well, today is the first day of school for Charlotte-Mecklenburg students.
And as they welcome back thousands of learners to the classroom, education leaders say the district is continuing to grow.
Queen City News anchor Savannah Rudisell is live at South Meck High School with how officials are making room for all these students. Savannah, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. You know, South Mac High School is one of several campuses currently under construction. So as we had students coming back in towards the building, they were walking in towards something that's not quite finished. Now, we know that part of the improvements here to South Mac include 100 new classrooms, and pretty soon they'll have updated athletic facilities. They say in total, it's about 40% done as of right now, but it's going to be finished, they say, coming up in the summer of 2028. Now, CMS is fully opening 3 new schools this year. That includes Cato Ridge Middle, Dilworth Elementary, and J.T. Williams Secondary Montessori. These are all the result of a 2023 bond initiative. Now, we asked district leaders about some of the other work that they got done this summer, especially considering the absence of Superintendent Dr. Crystal Hill. While the school board placed her on paid administrative leave for 8 weeks pending an investigation, she tells me the administrative team kept progress going according to plan.
There are no gaps. We are ready to go. We are ready to roll with excellence without exception. As I said, we are planning 6 months in advance, and we are always planning. If this doesn't work, then this is our next path. So we are ready to go. Everything is rolling as expected, and I couldn't be more pleased with what's happened over the summer and how we're ready to go.
Now, the superintendent and other district officials told us they wouldn't answer any more questions that weren't related to the first day of school. No more questions specifically about why exactly Dr. Hill was under investigation and what the findings of that were before she was reinstated just a few weeks ago. Now, there is a Board of Education meeting tonight that's open to the public starting at 6 o'clock. We'll keep you updated should any major developments come from that meeting. Reporting live in South Mac, Savannah Russell, Queen City News.
All right, Savannah, thank you. A man accused of making threats against several Charlotte area schools is free on bond as students go back to the classroom today. According to court records, Drew Owens sent emails earlier this year to various CMS schools claiming he planned to carry out mass shootings.
He was arrested in February and was released over this past weekend. Owens has been ordered to wear an ankle monitor and to stay away from schools. He was originally scheduled to go to trial this December, but that was canceled.
All right, joining us now, our chief legal analyst, Khalif Rhodes, to break this down. Khalif, one of the things that happened here, they reduced his, bond payment. That's what allowed him to bond out. When you look at somebody being released by this, timing not great, but is this kind of how the legal system works?
It is. It's exactly how the legal system is supposed to work. An individual's arrested, and we start with this, that you have the presumption of innocence, right? You're innocent until proven guilty. And I understand that we are in a heightened sense of crime, of tough on crime, and of all these different approaches that we are doing, and rightfully so. Folks want to feel safe within their communities, but we have to recognize that there are two processes when you're looking at the criminal justice portion. It's the due process, a person's constitutional rights to ensure that they go through that without getting some type of harm done to them throughout that process. And then you have the post portion where there's a conviction and then there's some type of sentencing. And then ultimately, if a person goes to prison, it's a reentry and rehabilitation. But oftentimes folks want that justice portion in the front. They want people to either sit there and wait, and we don't have detention statutes in our state where you can just hold people indefinitely, or they want someone to serve a punishment before there is a conviction. So in this case right here, let's look at the charge. This is communicating some type of mass threat right towards a school. 5 different charges. He had 4 on one count, 4 counts on one charge and 1 on the other. The maximum punishment, the maximum, 5 to 6 months in the presumptive range. So if you look at the sentencing chart, we have structured sentencing in North Carolina. The presumptive is the middle range. That's where most of them will sit. Yeah. You can go up to the aggravated range if you have some aggravating factors. You can go down to the mitigated range if you have a mitigated range of factors. We go from A, being homicides, to I, being like simple possession of something. He was an H, our second lowest felony in our state. And so for him to be there for any amount of time, past 5 to 6 months, because you wouldn't see these run concurrent, you wouldn't see them, run consecutive. Right. Typically, if someone was convicted of this, it would be, okay, I'll sentence you, you're guilty of all of them. If he ultimately went to trial, it would be, but you'll run this for this consecutive with all of them together. And so 5 to 6 months, he would have already extended and exhausted that time. So that's why I would suspect that he was let out at this time frame, because he probably would have served more than what he could be if he was convicted.
Well, not that we're in a trial right here, but if we were, I mean, what kind of defense do you have for this? Is it, I guess, splitting hairs between a maybe a fearful statement and something that's truly threatening?
Well, these are specific intent, so you have to knowingly have intended to put them in imminent fear of bodily harm. And so if you send an email with the intent to do that, then it's going to be pretty cut and dry. It's different if you make a statement. Your statements can be taken out of context, but your words written down saying that I'll be there to do X, Y, and Z, that it's going to be hard to defend, to find a defense for that. But what I can say is, in terms of procedurally, because folks are concerned and confused on how this occurred, it starts with a bond, because the judge is looking at it saying, what number can I put on this person to ensure that the community feels safe, that this person won't commit a new crime, specifically a violent crime, and they'll appear in court. Well, you look at their past to determine if they'll appear. He had no past. No criminal convictions in the past at all that I could see on our portal. All I saw was the 2 charges that he had from 2025. So, because you mentioned this was from February, not of 2026. February 2025 is when he's been in jail for. So he's been in there that whole time writing motions and requesting that he have a trial to get out.
All right, so what happens next?
What happens next is he'll get placed back on the trial calendar at some point, so he can get to the trial docket. But I would suspect, as I mentioned before, because he's already served probably more time than he would get if he got convicted, an offer from the DA's office would most likely be plea for time served. But if he wanted to fight it, he could fight it for and ultimately lose, and then ultimately get the time served that he did as well. So I think either scenario has no additional jail time than what he's already done.
So this is more of a matter of people being upset, and understandably so, because school's back in session. The timing isn't great, but as far as the legal system, he's already done the time that he would have served. He was going to get out eventually, and it seems like even served more time than he would have.
I think so. I mean, there is a potential for a judge to say, I'm going to run these consecutive.
Right.
I mean, but that would be outside of the norm. I mean, yeah, then that would be 30 months, right? And so then you'd say if he was convicted, he'd go back and do more time. But typically in a case like this, you get charged with the same charge 5 times. So it was 5 different schools. You would have 1 count, and you would plead to that 1 count, and it would be 5 to 6. So he's done significantly more time than that.
Okay. All right, Khalif, thanks.
It is almost 9:12 this morning. We've been enjoying the 60s all morning long. We know at some point all things have to come to an end, right, Brandon?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And you can kind of see it on our mosquito meter this morning. So mosquitoes, they love moisture. They love when the humidity is high. This is why they're so active during the morning and evenings, because that's when the relative humidity is the highest during the day. So the mosquito meter actually kind of in that medium to high range today. But then by Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we go all the way up to the very high range. Again, that's because we're going to have more moisture for those mosquitoes to work with. And you can see the muggy meter going up as we go into Wednesday and Thursday. So as Jason mentioned, all good things have to come to an end here. And unfortunately, today is our last day with the lower humidity and also the just more comfortable feeling conditions out there. So dew points right now, mainly in the 50s. We're at 60-degree dew point in Charlotte, but tomorrow we'll be in the upper 60s. And then Thursday, we'll be chatting about near 70-degree dew points again. I've got 57 at Boone, 58 Jefferson, 66 Statesville, 65 in Salisbury, 70 Concord, 66 down in Charlotte, and 68 over in Rock Hill. I've got high temperatures today in the mid to upper 80s. We'll be in the mid to upper 70s in the mountains. Again, it's a comfortable forecast, very seasonable as high pressure builds in from the north and continues to bring us drier air. Coming up in just a bit, we'll talk about the humidity making its return and the storm chances that come with it. That's all coming up in just a little bit.
All right, Brandon, thank you. Police officer by day and opera singer by night. The lawman dazzling people with an unexpected talent next. And as we head to break, a live look here at the Carolinas Corner Store Church in Fort Mill. Polls open now for South Carolina's Senate special election runoff. Not a lot of people turning out to the polls, but that's expected in one of these special primary runoffs. At least one person may be going to cast their ballot. Again, the race between Congressman Ralph Norman and interim Senator Darlene Graham. We'll be right back with more Queen City News Now, right after this. Welcome back. The couple who climbed to the top of the Empire State Building were in a courtroom Monday. Angela Nicolau and Ivan Kuznetsov appeared before a judge in New York City. The couple climbed onto the broadcast transmitter on top of the Empire State Building on July 1st and unfurled a banner before Kuznetsov proposed to Nicolau. They're charged with multiple crimes, including burglary, reckless endangerment, and criminal mischief. The next hearing in their case scheduled for September 29th.
A Kansas police officer has a unique interest outside of work. Reporter Jessica Gauthier introduces us to the lawman using his talents to introduce others to opera.
When you think about a police officer, what comes to mind? Getting pulled over? Maybe a high-speed chase? What about a piano-playing opera singer? Officer Jeremy Claude with the Overland Park Police Department has been playing piano since he was a little kid. And for the last few months, when he's not fighting crime, he spends his lunch breaks at a local department store, sharing his talents with others.
I was on a proactive patrol unit, and I took it upon myself to make contact with businesses and check in on them, make sure they're okay, any problems that we could help them or solve for them.
That's when he found the grand piano at Von Maur and decided to share his talents. He says he wanted to show that police officers aren't just robots like people may think.
I wanted to show the humanity aspect of law enforcement. Nowadays there's a lot of stigma towards law enforcement, and I want to make sure that people know that we're all human just like everyone else on this planet. We all go home and we have families, and we want to make sure people track that we're right there alongside them. We're here to help them whenever they need it.
He also uses music as an outlet to help decompress after a shift in a pretty high-pressure job.
A lot of the times when you're working this job, you're walking into something that you have no idea what you're walking into, and it is up to you to commit to the best of your ability to ensure the safety of yourself and others. So for me, music helps me decompress.
Officer Claude is also a member of the Overland Park Honor Guard and even sings opera as well. As in sharing his talents, he hopes to change the stigma surrounding law enforcement.
If I drive past somebody. 9:18 your time now. We're talking about lower humidity in the forecast for this morning. 9:19 your time, and we're still dancing 50s for dew points. And that's the way it's going to be here as we go through much of the day today. We could see dew points inch up a little bit later this evening and overnight tonight, but still not feeling too bad out there. But this is what your dew points will be tomorrow afternoon. Dew points already in the mid-60s, if not lower 70s, southeast of I-85. The area you could wear is back. And then Thursday, dew points near 70 degrees again. Man, that is the news I do not want to share with you. I want to talk more about today's forecast because it's going to be one of the nicer days this week, including yesterday. High pressure building in from the north. Today is actually even nicer because the humidity has dropped off even more from yesterday. We got a few high clouds that are streaming through, especially over South Carolina, but drier air really building in nicely. Plenty of sun through the day today, especially this afternoon. I expect abundant sunshine over the Carolinas. As we go into tonight, a few clouds are a possibility, but we should still be mostly clear to start the day tomorrow, with maybe a few high cirrus clouds rolling through. Again, tomorrow's interesting. We start dry, but then by the afternoon, storms return. 4 or 5 o'clock, we've got scattered showers and storms over the region, continuing through the evening tomorrow before drying out overnight Wednesday. And then here we go on Thursday, another front moving in. This front's going to be surging in from the west, so we've got moisture moving in ahead of it. So scattered storms possible Thursday. We'll have to watch Thursday night because around midnight, we've got the partial lunar eclipse taking place. Should be pretty good view when you're looking at the moon because it'll be 96%. However, clouds and maybe even some storms could be an issue Thursday night. We'll watch it for you, though, as we get closer. And then that front sticks around for Friday afternoon, producing more scattered showers and storms Friday afternoon and evening. Now, speaking of stormy conditions, Daytona, you definitely see some stormy conditions there in Florida. And I will say, we still have scattered showers and storms possible for the Daytona race forecast Friday night for the O'Reilly race, which you can watch on the CW Friday night as well. And then Saturday, isolated storm chances a possibility for the Cup race, even as we go into Friday night. And then when you're talking about Daytona, you want to move out to the Atlantic and talk about the tropics as well. 70% chance of tropical formation down here towards the central Atlantic. We'll watch that. No threat to the U.S. at this time. Same with the northern Atlantic disturbance, which has a medium chance of formation here as we go into the next 7 days. Your temperatures, again, still in the 60s for much of the region, 50s in the mountains still. We'll be in the mid to upper 80s today and really for the next several days, but we do get more humid for Wednesday with a few storms tomorrow afternoon and evening. Showers and storm chances continue as we go into Thursday and Friday. You're watching Queen City News Now. It's the most local news in Charlotte. We'll be right back.
All right, this is super cool. As Los Angeles prepares for the Olympics in 2028, we're getting a look at a new aircraft that's going to be providing taxi service to and from the game events. Look at this. Julian, let's get in, man. The electric vertical takeoff and landing plane, it's known as Midnight, was put on display in downtown LA yesterday. The plane is a piloted all-electric air taxi designed for back-to-back flights across crowded cities. Officials at Archer Aviation say the company will be building the first vertiport or launch pad for these electric air taxis in downtown LA, and the company plans to maintain its air taxi network after the 2028 games.
I like this.
Why didn't you invite me and Brandon in the air taxi?
That's what I was going to say.
Well,
you said Julian, let's go.
I don't know.
There's only two.
Yeah, there's only two. Yeah,
guys gotta get the next
there's
one.
a pilot in the front.
Yeah.
I'll
And then
sit
there's
with
two seats.
Brandon all day.
Yeah, you pilot that thing.
Yeah.
I'll fly.
You'll pilot?
Yeah.
You got a pilot
Really?
Flights,
license?
travels around. Yeah, you can do it.
All right, I guess I'll go by myself.
If one of these were to start in Charlotte, would you guys be one of the first in line to try it out? Or are you one of those that you're like,
absolutely.
I'm going to wait a year, let's work out all the kinks?
I would try it.
I would try it.
Yeah.
I would
Especially
too.
though in LA, when you think about that, that might be the only thing that gets you around when the Olympics come.
For real,
Already
is
permanent.
vertical. Like that's the
Right.
only unused
Yeah.
space is the vertical part of it.
I wonder though, do you have to wear? Would you want to put on a mask because you're going to go through all that LA smog?
I mean, you're already living in it, breathing in it.
Yeah, you are.
But I don't know.
The air.
But a lot of these athletes, they're not used to that. I mean, they're from all over the world.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so they may be used to really clean air, and they're going to come to
Welcome
LA.
to LA. Well, you saw how it was with the World Cup with the Heat.
Yeah,
Some of the
yeah.
southern teams.
I have
so
questions about
Yeah.
the Olympic Committee choice, but
I'll fly us down, and then I'll come back and get Andy, and we'll fly.
there we go. Thanks,
All right.
We're on
Brandon.
private flight.
Yeah.
I like it. Thanks for
Sign
including me.
up. That could have been helpful this morning with our traffic over the last few hours, by the way.
Oh, you aren't joking.
All right, final half hour still to come after this break. In the meantime, though, we're looking at New York City. The reason it looks so pretty, one, the big buildings, and we're letting them borrow our Carolina blue skies. Looks good. We'll look at your business watch coming up in 3 minutes.
All right, 9:30. Happy Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I'm Annie Satowski.
I'm Julian Sador.
I'm Jason Harper. That is meteorologist Brandon Lawson. Feeling really nice outside. Today, back to school.
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands of families. I can just imagine right now the parents that are probably posting those, first day back to school,
Yeah,
standing in the front door or standing in the classroom. I bet that's happening all over our
With
viewing
the
area this morning.
posters now.
Oh, yeah.
Hold up like the first grade, second grade.
Yeah,
names.
yeah.
Some
I
moms
know
are
that's
crying,
happening.
Tears of joy.
Or
Probably. Maybe
for
some
like,
sadness.
Maybe for like kindergarten,
Yeah.
right? It's like, oh, my baby's
Yeah.
going to kindergarten, but then maybe when they're older, I don't know.
Oh,
you could
man.
be like, have fun. bye.
Middle school and high
I was
school.
gonna say, I've
You're
heard
like
some people.
You're like, I'm gonna miss
Get outta
you,
here.
and they turn around. You're like, woo! 6-7 hours if you stay at home. Yeah, where? Oh
Somebody
man.
came up to me and said, when they say on the news that parents are going to be sad to see their kids go, she's like, my kids, I cannot wait to get them out because they were like 13 and 11. And she's like,
Yep.
I am ready.
That's
Nope.
that's a lot.
Get on out.
That's a lot.
Get on out and get educated.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I just want to get on outside just to enjoy the weather today, just because how nice it is out there. We've got low humidity that will continue as we go through the day today. This is a live look from our Arlington camera looking over South End. Just a beautiful shot there. And again, it's going to be really a beautiful day throughout the day today. Plenty of sunshine, dry conditions. This is another view from our tower camera here from West Charlotte. You can see it looking along I-85, traffic rolling smoothly there. And temperatures are trying to get near 70 in Charlotte. Believe it or not, we're still in the 60s this morning. So it's a slow climb, which is good news for us. It means cooler weather for most of the day today. Dew points in the 50s right now, drier air. Live look from King Street in Boone, 61 degrees. Your temperature right now in Boone just climbing out of the 50s. Still have dew points in the 50s there. So again, dew points are mainly in the 50s across the region. But as we go into tomorrow, the humidity will start to increase again. Temperatures still in the upper 60s, low 70s this morning. Upper 50s, low 60s for the mountains. High temperature today in Charlotte, 87 degrees. Minus 10 degrees from this for the mountains. Up in Boone and Jefferson, I expect around 77. Same could be said for Newland over in Avery County. Mostly sunny and comfortable. Tonight will be mostly clear and comfortable, but we'll start to notice a slight increase in the humidity by this time tomorrow morning. Right now, high pressure's in control. It's building in from the north. That's ushering in drier air. But as we get into tomorrow, you see this warm front here. It's going to try and creep up a little bit farther north, and that's going to be bringing in that surge of moisture from the Gulf and also producing higher humidity, which is going to make it feel a little bit more uncomfortable tomorrow. So pollen forecast, as you're probably getting out and navigating some of this nicer weather, you might notice yourself sniffling and sneezing a little bit. Pollen season not over. We still have grass pollen, and we're also dealing with ragweed pollen. Ragweed season really starting to pick up here, especially as we get into August. No rain chances today, but rain chances are going to increase as we get towards the middle and latter half of the week. We'll time out the best chances for storms and maybe some of the threats that could come with those coming up in just a bit. Guys?
Brandon, thank you very much. After years of resisting Walmart, now allowing Tap to Pay.
And stocks are shaping up for a positive day.
Jane King live at the New York Stock Exchange with those stories and today's opening numbers. Jane, how are markets doing today about 3 minutes into the trading day?
Yeah, well, lots of green so far. So across the board, the Dow is up about 100 points or so. NASDAQ is higher as well. And oil, I will point out, down this morning about $2.50 a barrel. So that is one of the things that's helping the markets this morning.
And Jane, Walmart, they have been the holdout for years. They're soon going to have a new way where you can pay.
Yes, Walmart will finally accept Apple Pay, Google Pay, other tap-to-pay methods at its U.S. stores after holding out on this for over a decade. So starting this week, Walmart and Sam's Club will roll out these options at select locations. So shoppers can pay with contactless cards, smartphones, and smartwatches. Now, this won't be available at every location immediately. Walmart's scheduled to start the tap-to-pay in South and North Carolina on October 8th.
All right, I'm guilty of this, Jane, but there are some warnings about people using too many exclamation points in their emails. What's up with this?
So etiquette experts say exclamation marks can be okay if you just use one to kind of show excitement or surprise, but multiple ones in an email, and especially several to end sentences, can make the reader question your sanity. Now, in another study, the use of exclamation marks in emails to doctors tended to get answered quicker.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I guess
Read
so.
me.
Yeah.
Dial it in, Annie. Dial it in. Just one exclamation point.
It's more in text messages. I just get so excited to tell whoever my story.
So excited. Right.
All right, Jane. Thank you. Have a great Tuesday. We'll catch up with you dark and early tomorrow.
All right, South Carolina Republican voters are heading back to the polls today for the U.S. Senate special primary runoff. Voters will have to choose between interim Senator Darlene Graham and Congressman Ralph Norman for the November ticket. A valid photo ID is required to cast that ballot. Reminder, if you voted in June's Democratic primary, you are not eligible for this runoff. It is Republican only. Polls are open until 7 p.m.
Well, a former Border Patrol commander is getting attention for his return to Charlotte and the business where ICE agents arrested people during Operation Charlotte's Web. The interaction with Gregory Bavino has bakery owner Manolo Betancourt fearing for the East Charlotte community once again. Betancourt says that he told Bavino he was not allowed on the property or inside his business. Queen City News anchor Will Lewis has more on Sunday's confrontation and why Bavino says that he was there in the first place.
There's a lot of fear of you and a lot of fear of ICE and a lot of fear of what is going on in our nation.
Manolo Bentancur talking about the conversation he had with the former commander of U.S. Border Patrol, Greg Bavino, when Bentancur saw Bavino at the popular East Charlotte Bakery Sunday afternoon.
And he said, well, can be whatever I want, I'm free. I said, well, this is private property. You are not allowing this property.
Bavino and a cameraman were spotted in the parking lot of the bakery before Bentancur told them they weren't welcome. Last November, Bavino led Operation Charlotte's Web, a federal immigration enforcement sweep that resulted in over 1,300 arrests, with much of the activity starting in the parking lot of Manolo's Bakery.
You are Manolo, you are the owner, you are the one who shut the business down in November, so you can protect all the illegals that you have over here.
The interaction in the parking lot lasted minutes, but Bavino says that's not what happened. In a statement to us, he says he never tried to enter the bakery. Bavino went on to say he was recording video of businesses from Operation Charlotte's Web when his videographer asked to buy something in the bakery, and Manolo declined.
I told him, if you are thinking about going inside the bakery, you are not going to go inside.
Bavino says he asked Bentancur, quote, why he would choose an illegal alien over an American citizen, and he was unable to answer. Bentancur says this interaction shows how his community and businesses remain under attack, from bad reviews of his bakery to someone recently throwing eggs at the business, and the hate speech keeps increasing. Bavino plans to post the entire video of the interaction online later this week. Will Lewis, Queen City News.
North Carolina Governor Josh Stein is questioning WakeMed's proposed merger with Charlotte-based Atrium Health. He sent a letter to WakeMed's president and CEO last week asking about a dozen questions about particulars of the proposal, including financials and oversight. The governor wants to know what guarantees Atrium have provided to ensure WakeMed's prices won't increase. Wake County commissioners will ultimately decide whether to approve or deny the deal. The merger would put Atrium in charge of WakeMed.
Data from the CDC shows the U.S. fertility rate has fallen to a historic low of about 1.6 children per woman. That is below the replacement level needed of 2.1 to maintain population growth. Some worry about the impact that decline will have on schools at every level. And while surveys do point to a laundry list of factors driving people to take a hard look at starting a family, we can't really understand the data without talking to actual couples who are choosing to forego having kids, and why. It's the sound that signals the start to the Dobbs family's day. Just breakfast for two and Rue. But what you don't hear is children.
It's just something that we just decided it's just not for us.
Kat and Josh Jobs are proud Dinks, a nickname referring to couples who are dual income, no kids.
I came to a realization at one point where I realized, actually, I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. Like, there wasn't a day of the year like Father's Day or Mother's Day or whatever where I thought, oh man, I really wish I had a child right now to share this experience with.
It wasn't a decision the East Charlotte couple made lightly. In fact, the question of having or not having kids loomed for more than half of their 15-year marriage.
We talked to friends who had kids. We talked to people who didn't have kids and how are they feeling in their lives. We looked at forums and kind of looked at what are the limitations? Are you happy? What does end of life look like when you don't have kids? We really did some intense research.
The Dobbs aren't the only ones having these conversations. According to Pew Research data from 2025, 12% of U.S. married couples with at least one spouse in their 30s or 40s are Dinks. In Charlotte alone, roughly 125 couples are part of the Dinks social app, connecting Dinks with other Dinks all over the world.
We've gone to a few brewery meetups. We've done a brunch. We've done a World Cup viewing. We've been to Rosie's Wine Garden as a group.
For couples who choose to be child-free, their reasons fall along a broad spectrum.
Housing's extremely expensive compared to wage growth. Inflation, the times we live in are very uncertain. We're elder millennials. We've been through 9/11. We've been through the dot-com burst. We've been through the Great Recession. We've been through COVID, and now we're going through something with AI. We'll see, but we've been through so much, and I'm just like, I'm fine. I'm good. I don't need anybody else to like worry about at this point.
When I looked at the prices for like daycare, I was like, oh no, I just was like, that is not.
It's almost like a college tuition.
It truly, I just think I was like, all of the pieces together just were like, fell on the no side of the fence.
Researchers say that self-reflection is having a huge influence on the decision to start a family.
It's not necessarily people not wanting to have children, it's just them wanting to make sure the conditions are set for them to do so.
Dr. Lorenzo Hopper is an assistant professor in the Department of Public Health and Health Administration at UNC Charlotte and a new dad. Part of his research specifically looks at 18 to 25-year-old men and their views of fatherhood.
Surprisingly enough, they're very aware of especially the financial component, right? And so just wanting to be in a position where they feel economically stable. A second piece that really jumped out to me was just their awareness around their own mental and physical health and where they are, and if they're just truly ready for the shift that happens when you become a parent down the line.
Yeah. Dr. Hopper says because that shift can be so seismic, being ready for the parenthood journey may not happen until couples are older.
There's a lot of joy there, for sure, but there's nothing wrong with taking your time and making sure that you feel like you're fully prepared to step into that role.
The Dobbs realized that role wasn't for them, and they're confident in that decision.
I mean, it's a huge commitment, and if you don't think you've got it, then you maybe don't do it.
So instead of tending to children, they're tending to chickens, heading to concerts, and collecting stamps on their passports.
We're going to enjoy life as much as we can and see the rest of the world because it's a beautiful place.
Now, to add to this, a new report from LendingTree estimates raising a child through age 18 now tops $300,000, with expenses like childcare, housing, and groceries continuing to rise.
I found that not only was I welcome to play, but I could be a strength on the team in a way that no other sport would allow.
Introducing the Gospel of Rugby, the sport welcoming in all types of athletes in faces of the Carolinas.
And as we had a break, we want to take another look. As we go down to South Carolina this morning, this is the Carolinas Cornerstone Church in Fort Mill. Polls have been open since 7, open till 7 tonight for the state's Senate special election, the GOP runoff. You are watching Queen City News on this Tuesday. We appreciate that. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
Well, the impact of a girls' sports goes far beyond the lines. The Charlotte group says rugby instills confidence and body positivity. They stress two words that are a metaphor for life: with you. Queen City News storyteller John Lee has more in Faces of the Carolinas.
At a North Charlotte softball field,
I have a whole nother bag.
these women introduce kids to a sport that's still foreign.
Go all the way up.
Alyssa Guthrie is executive director of Girls Rugby Charlotte.
I love to say it's like every body is a rugby body.
It seems super fun.
This summer, Alyssa and friends teach the basics at free flag rugby clinics.
Okay, well, there's an opportunity. Let's just do it.
When someone throws you the ball, it's going to be like, ah! The more your hands are going to be used to catching this weird shaped ball.
You do know those magic words in rugby, don't you?
With you. And if I hear Austin say,
with you.
I'm going to look to him, look for his hands, and I'm going to pass the ball.
With you tells a teammate you're right there and ready. For Alyssa, that's also become a mantra for life. We saw her intensity at a co-ed practice in Belmont.
Crouch! 5, set, hit, hold!
This is the Gaston County Rugby Club.
Haley, call for that ball. Yep. Run straight. Do not pass it. Do not. Yes, good. I'm your left. I'm on your left. Short.
Alyssa didn't start playing until she was 24.
So it hugely helped my body positivity.
Her team with the Charlotte Rugby Club won the D2 National Championship back in 2018.
As someone who is not classically athletic or classically seen as an athlete, I found that not only was I welcome to play, but I could be a strength on the team in a way that no other sport would allow. With you left. Yes!
Rugby can do more than just fill up your free time. It can also shape your life.
We have what's called a word of the week.
The word is confidence.
Maybe we learn about ourselves when we play.
Remember, with you is a rugby call that underscores teamwork and community. Hello? Are you still with me?
Yeah. We want to keep our passes to the side.
Alyssa shares the love of the game because rugby loved her back.
And that is like the beauty of the sport.
I think I'm gonna be good at rugby because I trust myself.
In North Charlotte, John Lee, Queen City News.
Now, there's one more girls flag rugby try-day planned in Mount Holly on August 29th. To find out more, go to qcnews.com.
A local foundation is raising record-breaking money to support children and families impacted by congenital heart defects. Monday, Showmars, a Charlotte-based restaurant, donated $115,000 to the Hardest Yard. That's an organization, of course, founded by Greg Olson. The Hardest Yard calls the donation the largest ever in the 10-year history of the organization and Showmars 5K.
Our ability to make sure that those families have everything that they need, have all of the care, all of the access, and the facilities is what is the entire purpose of the Hardest Yard. To be able to come here into our clinic, see some of our heart babies, see some of our heart families, and be able to present this check alongside Showmars is always a great pleasure.
Gotta love Panthers great Greg Olson. His son TJ actually received a heart transplant at just 8 years old, prompting the Panthers legend to start the Hardest Yard Foundation. Olson was joined by a local heart transplant family and Levine Children's Hospital physicians for that presentation on Monday.
I love it. I was just saying an hour ago, we're so fortunate in this city to have some of the world's greatest doctors that take care of all of our special kids. So I love that.
That's right.
All right, it is feeling amazing outside. I mean, we've been kind of, sequestered here since early.
That's a great word.
Since early this morning, and we can't wait to break free in the next 10, 15 minutes, Brandon.
Yeah, you aren't joking. I've been like popping outside every so often just to enjoy it a little bit and see what other people are getting to enjoy as they
Does it feel good out there?
Yeah,
it feels pleasant. It feels incredible. It feels so good. And again, it's one of those days too where not only you have lower humidity, but you have plenty of sunshine. It's dry. You don't have to worry about any concerns weather-wise, except for maybe getting sunburned. Have the sunscreen handy. You'll still need that. Very high UV index. 87 degrees your temperature today. I want to point out our temperatures don't really fluctuate a whole lot over the next several days. Our average high temperatures 88, and that's where we're going to be really through the weekend. But what is going to change is our rain chances and our humidity levels. The humidity is going to start going up for the mid to latter half of the week, and you can see those rain chances almost like the stair climber at the gym. I don't like seeing it either, and unfortunately I don't like seeing this. Rain chances going from 40 to 60% through Friday. Scattered showers and storms getting back into the forecast. High pressure building in from the north, and again, as that high pressure center slides to the east, we're going to have this warm front that tries to push to the north. So that's going to push the drier air north as well and push the moisture farther north into our region. Futurecast keeps us dry today. Plenty of sunshine, abundant. It's going to be gorgeous out there. Again, low humidity. Get that jogging. Get those outdoor plans in today. Tomorrow's not necessarily an awful day to get outdoors. It's just not going to feel as good as today. You can already see the clouds tomorrow morning and into the afternoon. That's a resemblance of more moisture in the atmosphere. Scattered showers and storms as early as 3-4 o'clock tomorrow. Those will continue through the evening tomorrow. As we go into Thursday, we got a front approaching. So look at all the moisture that is pushing out ahead of this front. So more scattered showers and storms on Thursday and the Thursday evening. And then Thursday night, I'll freeze it right here. We got the partial lunar eclipse. 12 a.m. we'll have a 96% partial lunar eclipse. So about 96% of the moon's going to be red. Now, here's the thing with this Thursday night. There's a lot of clouds, and there could even be a few showers lingering, so I'm not feeling confident about it. So hopefully you're able to get the SpaceX launch this morning, because that was probably the best view we might have on the sky this week. And Futurecast shows scattered storms Friday afternoon and evening as well, so heads up, Friday Night Football, still could be some more storms out there. Dew points in the 50s. Feeling delightful this morning. Temperatures only around 70 right now in Charlotte, 64 or so in Boone, and then high temperatures today in the mid 80s, and looking at those mid to upper 70s in the mountains. Comfortable forecast today, more humid for tomorrow with showers and storms building in. We'll even see more showers and storms by Thursday and Friday. You're watching Queen City News Now. It's the most local news in the Queen City. Before we go, I just showed you the 7-day, so I want to show you from this morning the SpaceX Falcon 9. Again, it was launched at 5:33 this morning and became visible around 5:40 this morning here in Charlotte. Again, you got that little jellyfish cloud effect from that Falcon 9 flying over. And essentially what happens is you've got those super hot gases mixing with the atmosphere. And then you also have the sun shining bright on the rocket.
That's what's happening.
And it's dark down here.
Yep, those
and
gases.
It's that incredible view.
No, that's awesome.
That looks so good, Brandon.
View.
It really, I got to see the International Space Station with you a couple weeks ago. I missed this one with you today, so I'm glad you caught it.
You know, I was actually kind of sad I didn't see you out there. I ain't gonna lie. I walked out there and I was like,
well, I know. I had to put my war paint on this morning, so I missed it. But looking at that shot, this is what's cool, is looking at that shot, knowing how far away that is, how fast it's moving. There are people, well, I don't know if that was probably not manned, but still, the fact that we have technology and smart enough people that can figure out how to do this day in and day out blows my mind.
It could not be me.
Not us. All right.
Brandon.
Here, that's right. We have just enough time to get to Alicia and Liza. Ladies, what's coming up today?
Well, you know, since Charlotte Mech officially started school, we're playing a little game of Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader on our show. We have a question for y'all to see if you're smarter.
Oh, no.
What year did
Christopher Columbus cross the ocean
blue?
Ooh, 1412. No.
Something 92.
Yeah.
Columbus
Sailed the ocean blue.
1492?
And blah, 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 blah.
There you go, Annie.
I was close.
Annie's smarter than a fifth grader. Yes, Annie's smarter than a fifth grader.
Not
We'll play a
me.
little game on the show.
Oh,
third grade.
That's it. We're in timeout detention. That's where I spent my fifth grade. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 4.
You don't want to miss what we have coming up today on Positively Charlotte. We're at the end of the night season, and our friend Kendall is in the house to tell us how we're going out in style.
And a sport that goes deeper than just the pitch. We take a look at how rugby is building confidence.
And some useful tips for getting your sleep right. Guys, these ones might surprise you. Good morning, and I want to say congratulations to all you parents.
Yes.
You made it. Your kids are back in school. Welcome to Positively Charlotte. I'm Alicia Corrales.
And I'm Liza Mahacek. A happy first day of school to all of our CMSers. It was gorgeous this morning, so the perfect day to head back to school. And also I saw so many kids out waiting for the bus stop, and it was like perfect 70 degrees.
It's so cute, right?
So nice, so much fun.
Shout out to my niece and nephew, London and Case, and they're in middle school together. That's going to go great.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
All right, and also a very good morning to all of our fall baddies. You survived the summer, and now it's time to reward your effort. And what better way than to ring in the season with the world famous pumpkin spice latte?
That is right. And once the kids have been dropped off at school, it's time to jump into another line and taste fall. So we are rooting for you. Honestly, this feels early to bring the PSL back, but people have been trying to get it to be around all year round, so it does make sense.
This doesn't feel too early because you know what? Today kind of feels like a fall day to me. You know what I'm saying?
It's like a football fall kind of morning. I'm like, ooh.
This has been the coolest morning since, or I think, late June. So
I mean, I genuinely, I went and I sat outside because I was like, it is so lovely.
It's walk-in
so
weather.
beautiful.
You're just going to be outside.
Love it.
Okay, well, you saw us play Would You Rather yesterday. And you know what? I'm a genie because Liza said she wanted endless summer over endless winter because she wants to be on summer break forever.
That's
so
right.
Liza, school's back in session for CMS as we're talking about. But let's see if we can keep up with these kids. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm excited. We're
Okay.
doing a little Trivia Tuesday today. And the theme is that all of the questions were featured on Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? So we are playing Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader today?
Yes, yes.
So we're going to see. We're going to ask each other a few questions to see if we are passing class. I'm kind of scared. You can play along with us at home. Let us know how you did on our socials.
Okay, you ready, Liza?
I'm ready.
Okay, the female of which animal species is called, what is this?
A ewe.
A ewe. Okay, well,
do we
okay,
not
there we
get
go.
multiple choice?
Yeah, okay, so, a female of this, no, there's no multiple choice.
Oh, what?
Yep, nope, you gotta, come on, fifth graders got this. Fifth graders got this.
No, we almost always get multiple choice.
We don't today.
This is
Liza,
foul.
stop trying to delay. What's the answer?
Is it I know that it's like
A what?
like a deer of sorts. It's kind of like a deer.
Mahacek got to answer in this time slot.
Girl, I don't know.
It is a sheep.
A sheep?
A sheep is called a ewe.
Okay.
Okay, I wouldn't have known that either.
All right. Okay, well, what's the most populated state in the U.S.?
Oh, okay. It needs to be a big state. So I'm thinking like California. Texas is big, but it's not. It's dense. Okay. Our producers tell me to lock in. I am gonna go with California.
It's California.
Boom!
Correct.
Boom!
Boom. Pretty big
Hey.
booms.
Okay.
All right.
You ready?
Next one.
Okay.
For you.
Evan has 100 in pennies. Liza, how many pennies does Evan? Oh, Evan has $100 in pennies. Liza, how many pennies does Evan have?
100,000.
No.
What? No.
10,000. 10,000.
No.
That's okay, Liza.
No.
You needed one less zero.
Oh my gosh.
You needed one less zero.
Oh my gosh, no.
Yeah, that's okay,
this
boo.
is terrible.
That's okay.
This is really bad. Okay, 10,000. I knew that,
That's
guys.
fine.
I knew
You're
that.
off.
Oh my gosh,
Okay.
I hate this.
That's fine.
All right, what is the world's largest desert?
I'm going to say Sahara because that is like, that instantly came to mind. And I'm thinking Africa and it's a big continent.
That's correct.
Ah! You're so
mad.
salty.
I'm mad. I'm mad. I am. I want my multiple choice back.
That's what this good USC Trojan education does.
Okay,
Miss
I'm
Sue.
sorry.
Come on.
I'm sorry.
Okay, make up for it, Liza. How many bones are in the human body?
Do you know the answer to this?
Yeah.
You do?
You learned this in elementary school.
Girl, oh my gosh, I can't do this.
I don't know the answer to this.
can't.
Okay,
thank
I'll
you.
give you multiple choice.
Okay.
Is it 306,
Okay.
106, or 206?
206.
There you go. Look.
See, when I have multiple choice, I can figure it out. I can figure it out. Okay, what planet is closest to the sun?
I was going to say Mercury because I feel like Mercury could be Pluto.
Girl.
Or we. What?
Could be Pluto?
What?
Could be Pluto. Okay.
Why could it be Pluto?
Pick one. Pick one.
I'm going to say Earth.
Earth. Okay. Okay.
What?
Okay.
Is that
okay.
wrong?
It actually is Mercury.
I said Mercury the
close.
first time,
You
but
were
you looked at me
close.
like I was crazy.
No, I said you were crazy for Pluto.
Why am I crazy for Pluto?
Pluto, isn't it the coldest? It's the coldest planet.
It's
so it couldn't
little.
be closest to the sun.
Oh,
it's also not
apparently
even
it's
a planet anymore, technically.
Y'all are some
so,
haters.
Which is sad.
I'm
I
going
was
to give
very sad
myself
to
that
see
one
it
because I said Mercury first.
You did.
Okay.
I'll give you half a point for that
What?
one. You've done great. You've done
I'm
great.
about 100%.
All right.
What does the term IQ stand for?
Isn't it intelligence quiz? No. Intelligence.
Okay, keep trying.
Quarter. Quell. Okay, I don't know. What is it? What is it?
Intelligence quotient. You're
I
right.
don't. Is that how you say that word? Quotient. I was just about to say. You wouldn't have known this either. Why did I get the hard questions? I got the hard questions.
Not talking about me.
not fair. Okay, all right. What is the plural form of deer?
Die.
No, it's deer. Die. Those die are running right across the road.
Listen, I only got one wrong.
That's so crazy.
Whatever.
And you said it so confident.
I did
too.
great. I did
didn't like
great.
this. I did not like this. I don't want to do this again. Never again.
I was probably a fifth
I hope
grader.
those fifth graders go and they learn all these facts.
Learn all that you can, because we didn't.
Let us know how you did on our socials at PositivelyCLT. Okay, it's time to flex our mediation muscles once again as we determine if someone is the bad guy. This one came from a Redditor. One of my favorite hobbies is using credit card and casino comps to get cheap trips. I have several cruise lines that I get free offers for where I pay taxes and fees, usually less than $200, for a 7-night cruise plus extras like gratuities for the staff or any drink or dining packages that I may want.
And my friend asked what vacation plans I had coming up since I travel quite a bit. I let her know I had an upcoming trip booked and she could come for around $600 if she was interested. This is for 7 nights in a room just below suite level. She seemed interested, so I gave her the breakdown of the cost because I wanted to be transparent. It's $160 for taxes and fees, $455 for the drinks, dinings, gratuity to be covered. She seemed interested, so I asked her to double check if the dates worked for her and to let her know if we were set.
She came back to me a couple of days later and said that she'd be good with $160, but had done research and didn't want to pay the other $455 in fees because she read that it's not mandatory that you pay gratuities to the staff. Also, she was planning on sneaking alcohol onto the ship, and unfortunately, the way this package works is that everyone in the booking has to order it if one person does. So if one person does it, all of you have to do it. And I want the convenience of knowing my gratuities are paid and that I can order a drink regardless of where I am without going back to the room to make one. To me, this is just a part of the experience of being on vacation and doing exactly what I want.
Well, this is a long one. Okay, I told her if she felt that maybe it'd be best that she not come along and do her own thing, but now she's mad at me because I told her she'd have to pay the $4,000 to do this trip without my benefits. I don't mind paying for the extras myself, but really I don't want to pay for her as well. I know that she can afford it. It's just something that's making her think that she can get around the rules. So she, the bad guy.
Girl,
she's the cheap guy.
Yeah, you know, if you don't want to pay the $455, don't go on the trip.
Don't go on the trip. That's it.
And don't be mad.
Yeah.
Like this person's offering, instead of $4,000 for you to pay about $600, hey, you just actually saved, you made $3,400.
And also, where are you going to go on a 7-night cruise for $700? That's $100 a day. You're cheap.
Genuinely. And also, I'm sorry, you need to pay gratuities to the staff, regardless of whether or not it's comped. You need to be tipping people.
Here's the thing: have you ever traveled with somebody who just doesn't have it? And that's fine, because in life sometimes you just do not have it. We've all been there. Or somebody that's cheap. You don't want to travel with that person. If that person's money is not right, I don't want to go on a trip.
Traveling with people, it really is a test of your relationship. Friendships, actual partners. It's there's a lot of things that get tested.
Yeah. So you know your friend's just the cheap guy. You're not the bad guy. All right. After the break, we're getting inside baseball on Charlotte Baseball. How you can make the most of the Knights' remaining season.
And the landscape of the summer job has changed. We'll tell you just how much when we return.
You're taking a live look at West Charlotte. We'll be right back after this short break.